See you guys.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome back in. A couple hours left on an afternoon that's turning into a pretty good one as we have a look at some cannabis names. We'll touch on that coming up, but I wanted to mention right out of the gate, good news. We've located Frank. He's back from vacation. So Frank will be with us this afternoon. So good news. The Fed coming up tomorrow, remember, be with us this time tomorrow. We'll have it live for you. Not going to be any change as far as the interest rate is concerned, but everyone will be hanging on every word said by Mr. Powell at 2:30 when he comes out for the press conference. There's the dollar right now. Huge, huge, huge move back to the upside here. We're all the way back to 106 on the dollar index. So decent sized move to the upside. Yields are all positive this afternoon. Has nothing to do with weed. But what a move for all of these, taking out the highs right now on heavy, heavy, heavy volume. If you miss it again, the DEA going to historically change marijuana to a less serious drug offense as far as they are concerned. So anything and everything marijuana related to the upside in a pretty big way. Very red as far as the overall market is concerned, but as I mentioned, we are starting to bounce here, move back in the right direction. Eli Lilly still having a pretty good day. 5+% to the upside for Lilly. Almost 5% downside, meanwhile, for Tesla today. Everything else, as I mentioned, pretty red across the board. There's Tilray. Tilray's up 26%. I mean, it's $1.80, so, or was $1.80, so not a huge move required. MSOS, huge gap as it halted initially and then gapped up after the halt. But yeah, there it is. Rescheduling cannabis, guys. No longer going to be a serious criminal offense south of the border. Raheem's coming up on Thursday. I know he wanted to talk about copper, but I'm going to shoot him a message right now and see if he has a take on all this cannabis stuff as well.
A take, a toke, whatever.
I mean, he'll have a take, as I was muted there. He'll have a take, I think, and hopefully we'll have some takes on this too. I was in ACB, and I'm looking to get back in. I thought we'd see VWAP 20%, and it's not even the biggest one. CGC, I want to say, was last at 28 or 29% when I looked at it. But yeah, mostly short. I still have Sofi from the morning, but we have two other shorts on as we find out Frank is coming back. So we'll see what happens at 3. Or 2:45. Glad to have him back. But I think with these going, market trend down 1%. If you're looking for some longs, maybe some continuation plays here. ACB 725 looks good. Maybe a little VWAP action. But yeah, back on that train. I liked ACB because the 760 had a triple top on it. But these all look pretty strong. Just need to settle down a bit. Little whipsaw action. Need to find some levels on the weed names.
All right, I'm still watching out for AMD. We had been in the short and lost on the short all the way up until it finally gets to 161. So we are back in this. We're only short here at 79. It's not necessarily, there you go, take it 65, Phil. Now we're starting to get a little lower here in AMD. But again, another name that we'll talk about throughout the afternoon as we do have reports coming through tonight with AMD. So Tesla's a new position, my newest position besides AMD. That's why I'm working this. But Tesla, we just shorted there 185.20 and got a fill at 80. Now we'll see if we can push lower. Oh yeah, let's go AMD downside right now. Put some more bids out here and see if we can take those downside action here for some of these names. But the NASDAQ, again, very, very resilient. You know, it's another day here in the afternoon where we're starting short, but let's wait to see what happens. We still are long PayPal, which, by the way, talk about a trade that's been working out for us all day, PayPal. I mean, just like Neil was talking about in the midday show, like stick with your plan. You know, I mean, it came right back in and we bought those dips at the low again. So our plan all day was to buy PayPal and get PayPal long. So we've hit that and it's going to be a top stock. But yeah, so far so good. AMD bouncing back a little bit. It's been a tough short. So be very, very careful. The only other stock that we've lost on NVIDIA as well up here at the high of the day, where we have the high of the day wick out. So you will not see a worse out than that right there. But, you know, we talk about our winners and our losers. So far, so good here. Let's go back over to the desk and find out what the boys are talking about as I watch out for this AMD trade.
They give it away on Queen Street here in Toronto. But,
oh, God.
Today, weed stocks are a raging buy. PayPal comes all the way back. We had PayPal top of the rundown this morning. I mean, it was a nice beat, but it gave back even going into the open here. We basically opened the day flat. Yeah. Versus where it ended on or after the close yesterday. We get a little bit of a bump, but not much to see here for PayPal today.
Not really. I mean, I know Sean traded this. I didn't trade this much on the midday, neither did Adara, but here is the look, guys. Revenue grew nicely year over year, about 9.4% year over year to $7.7 billion. That's a beat by about 180 million, so not a bad look. The only really bad thing that I could notice about this report was their active users declined, and their valuation has been largely justified based upon the user base that they can monetize. So if that keeps dwindling, Brendo, you have to start questioning the valuation.
I can't stop looking at this Tilray chart. Still, guys, just monster volume behind these moves here on all of these right now.
To steal a line from Jim Carrey, that Tilray chart is smoking.
Yeah, we definitely like that Tilray chart there. The account's
another great
smoking
Canadian
too, hopefully. Yeah, another great Canadian that's lost his mind, Jim Carrey. All right, 67.
He has gotten weird, hasn't he?
Yeah. All right, 67.50 right there. Look, we nailed PayPal. It was our top. It was our number 2 play here. Go long, $68 on Tilray. or on PayPal. We lost once and then no more. It's now a really good name. We're $1 in the money. We've been buying dips. Look, I don't love the quarter. I like it. 5 billion buyback, not bad. It's not Google's 70 billion. It's not Alibaba's 25 billion, but it's something. PayPal trying to work itself back upside. Again, one of the easier trades to look at for me today. Although we lost early, but it didn't. When I'm writing down levels, there's no way I'm going to be able to nail them to the exact dollar, although that's been happening, or to the exact penny. But this one we were pretty close, man. So we've gotten some good levels down there. Good job trying to hold this. It's now $1 in the money as we are now trying to get lower in AMD. I mean, we're just secretly putting some money in our pocket here, and not that secretly at all as we start to see AMD get down. Let's go, AMD. Big trade alert here, short off 161.
Yeah, I'm short in Apple. I don't know, Shreve wants me to put something on camera. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. He's just sent me a big old picture of like, oh, okay, well, why would he send it to me if he doesn't want me to show it? I'm not posting. It's just some nonsense about Ezekiel Elliott, but anyways, we'll stop to fail on that. Wow, Ezekiel Elliott signed a contract. Good for him. Congratulations, Ezekiel Elliott. At the end of the day, here's my stance for this. PayPal, it was a good bounce, but for me, it ran every single stop before it did. So kind of like Ezekiel Elliott trying to find the hole through the offensive line, which he no longer is able to do. Actually, check that. He can find the hole. He's just not fast enough to get through it. That's a better way to put it. So he can make the read, right? He can still see, okay, that's the gap I'm supposed to run into. It's just by the time he gets there, it's closed up and he's bottled up. And sometimes that's going to happen to you where you have the idea right, but you can't quite punch through. Is that good enough for you? I worked Ezekiel Elliott.
So you're trading on PayPal Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying because it did bounce. It just never bounced. If we come to the chart for a second, we got to work this back into trading somehow. It bounced once off 68, worked in, bought the dip off the fresh low, was scalping out, looking like it was going to go 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. It never did. Then reloaded off of the previous day highs. Bounced a little bit, was able to get a scalp trade out there, but I'm holding most of it for at least VWAP, so in that case it ran the stops. I didn't get back into it what would have been like a 4th time. So I guess I could have gone to the well a 4th time on PayPal, but I didn't, and it retraced to VWAP. It'll be really cool. If it can close above 68, I think it's got some continuation in it, but that's a pretty big wick that did fail. So you want to see this close and hold 60, that 68 area, and then I think it has a bigger run in it. Great hold off the 50 and 200 period post earnings. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care overall for this trade the next few days and weeks how the report was. I just care whether or not they're able to push through and hold above that resistance level. That's all that matters. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of them long term in terms of the business, so I just want the price action to go.
Yeah. I was going to say, meanwhile, the Packers signed, Josh Jacobs, decent running back there, and then take, my namesake there, Marshawn Lloyd, with their 3rd round pick, who I think will probably wind up being the best running back in this draft.
There's a lot. Well, he'll be better than Ezekiel Elliott.
And unfortunately, A.J. Dillon will be finished, and then we'll have to see Josh Jacobs.
Still have A.J. Dillon.
I know, but he won't. He'll probably get released or soon enough. And then Josh Jacobs, they can get out of it after 1 year. So the fact that we got that Marshawn Lloyd guy is absolutely huge. But anyways, yeah, I look forward to Dallas. I still think we should go, man. I think we should do a trip down to Dallas there and go see a game.
I love
there, Sharif.
Dallas.
If you want to go,
Love
Dallas, Green Bay, we'll have to go catch that if they play in Dallas. We'll go have a look.
We can go to the rodeo in Fort Worth too. Like that is, I've been to Dallas twice. Both times when I went to the rodeo. Took my daughter. She absolutely loved it. It is one of the most.
Not to love?
Like, dude, you go to the rodeo, your kids, like they have a thing where if you go on the Friday nights, anyways, like they have this thing where the kids get to all go out and like it's obviously not like big calves or anything, but they're like chasing them down and they have to get like like a scarf or something off of it. It's so much fun. They just like any kid from the crowd's allowed to go in there as long as you're not spooked by it. It's so much fun. It's
Me
a
and
great
Sharif are
family
bringing no kids. Man, we're just hitting the streets of Dallas, man.
I'm down, Sean. 100% down. I know you like Texas too.
I have no idea what you're talking about. If I go, I may not come back.
All right.
AMD tonight after the close. I mean, you guys were covering it already, but I mean, there was a couple of analyst moves this morning, some price target adjustments coming through, but that's in a nutshell. Zoom in here a little bit. What they are looking for as far as earnings to come after the close.
Yeah, like I mentioned this morning, what I'm really going to be focusing on is what Lisa Su says with respect to their new GPU, the MI300. I want to see how many orders they have from the hyperscalers, how much they're able to make, any issues with respect to export bans that have come anew. We knew that they were also subject to the export ban on GPUs. So a lot of unanswered questions I'm eager to hear.
Most importantly, what color is the jacket going to be?
I wore it. Like, this is not by accident. Right here, Brenda.
What if she comes like black or something? Wasn't it black last time?
I think so. Yeah, she did actually wear a black jacket last time.
After you made all that big deal about the blue? Whatever. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens tonight. I actually think ultimately, if you look at the daily chart if you look at the daily chart, like it's beaten up enough that if it's, like you already had a bad one from Intel, I just feel like if you have anything remotely solid, that AMD could push back to the 50-period moving average. The pullback already happened pretty decently here for them. I get it, it's still expensive, even with that pullback. But one of the reasons why risk management matters, like I look at it, I'm down on AMD, but it's half what I'm down, what I made on ARM, despite the fact every single time I took a short trade, there's a breakdown off of the pre-market low, we scalp out, we stop out underneath. If I'm taking it because it broke this, I'm getting out when it comes back underneath. I then look to short it next level up, which is gonna be the afternoon highs. It tags that level, short underneath, scalps them out at 50 cents, hold, but then it breaks that top, adhere to the stop. Same thing with this high, short back into that high, it takes the top. Short back into this high, it takes the top. But it never gave me the shot off the absolute high. But you got to be okay with it because ultimately it's going to be about risk to reward for me. I did find something a little bit better in the chips space, which ended up being ARM. I did trail out of ARM, but ARM was a little bit more clean underneath that 105 and then at VWAP as well. So there's always something, you know, when a trade works for you, you want to make sure if you do your scalp trading, then holding for the bigger move, which is my style of trade. It's important that when it stops out, you got to get out. So you do it that way. Always adhere to your own particular style. And I might get back into, we'll see if ARM can get back to 103. I'm still in Intel 31 short from earlier today. It's actually a bit of a reload. And, Apple. We can talk Apple? I didn't mention this. I'm short Apple right now. I didn't say that, I guess, at the open of the show. And Apple's not in there. But Apple had this little trend line lower highs. I had it right here at about 1 o'clock when it popped into VWAP, and then I shorted it again on a lower high into Apple, back down into 173. That was a newer position. Second time I'm taking it, however. So short Apple, still short Intel. AMD, like I said, you have to trade your own style. Every single time I shorted that lower high, it popped the top. And then the last time we weren't able to get it, but we limited the damage on it and then made it back on ARM.
All right. Yeah, we're in a 60-cent winner on AMD right now. Yeah. So that's it. We short against 161 with earnings coming tonight. I think it should be a good trade. We were losing on it. Like it broke VWAP and we got out. Then we let it sort of climb to the high side into 161, and we kind of left it alone until it got up there. So pretty happy with the executions here. Short and out when it broke, waited our turns into the 70s, into the 80s, and then boom goes the dynamite. It's going to be another top stock. We did it again. Shout out to the desk.
Hi, Ramin.
Hello, Ram.
4.3% here downside today for Tesla. I mean, we were sitting here this morning, it was 3% in the pre-market, and you know, was it 15, 16% at the high yesterday to the upside. So, I mean, to be expected here on a bit of a pullback.
Yeah, usually layoffs are a good thing sometimes for companies. Well, not so for Tesla, and it hasn't been 2 times around. So here where the layoffs are going to be. They're going to be in the supercharger division led by Rebecca Tanichi. There are also going to be layoffs in the new vehicle program that's led by Daniel Ho, as well as the public policy team, which Elon went basically in isolated, said they're not doing a good job. He wants his executives to take these cuts very seriously. He says some executives are, some executives aren't, but they got to get costs under control, he says.
All right, guys. Look, I'll just make this short and sweet. Yesterday, Tesla was the #1 P&L stock on the show. Why? We were long 185. We put that we were super bullish on the name yesterday. Today, this is the #1 P&L on the show again. Why? Because it's on here, 191 short sell for Tesla. It's the #1 trade of the day. There's the 191 short. We just reshorted again. We'll spin this one more time. Another short in Tesla. I mean, it's just exactly what we just said. It was going to cool down. I thought it was going to cool down. We wrote that exactly as it was written there on the sticky note. Brendan said, who thought we would have, potentially seen a cool down? There it is right there. Cool off a bit here today. The short was what was good. We took it, and it's just bank city right now. We're almost in $1 right now with AMD. So, things are still going good. The #2 stock of the day, we didn't even talk about Apple, but we'll get to that. This was huge shorts at 175. We're still in it. I mean, we are just basically stink facing this market right now. I mean, AMD is just heading to the downside again. Like, we are literally doing what we've been doing every single day here live for you guys, shorting some of these plays, and then just like having a good time doing it, to be honest with you. It sucks for the long-term account, but look at Tesla. Boom, boom, boom. We didn't even get the best price there. Right back in again for TSLA. So I know all of you guys like this kind of trading. It's simple, it's easy, it's few names, and it's high win rates. So we talk about trade your style. High win rates, easy trades. Simple style, Tesla, so far so good.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, it's just about sticking to your strategy. Look, on Tesla 2 days in a row. Well, I shouldn't say 2 days in a row, because yesterday it did come to the level I wanted. Today, I did a lesson yesterday about expect bigger ranges. Well, I expected a bigger range on Tesla. Sorry, I can't stop looking at CGC. I was just watching it at a double top. Tesla, I was expecting a bigger range today. I like the short at the 200 level. It never got there. It never got into the support until way too late off the open. But here comes the market back into the downside. I mentioned a couple of things. I'm still short on Intel. Again, this is just a weak stock, getting weaker. The earnings bottom is basically here at 3060. If it breaks that, I think all breaks loose. But I wanted to point out on CGC, you're up 37%. This is now a post-split double top at 1150. I'd be careful, Chase. It feels a little bit much. I know it's good news. I don't know that I'd be chasing this double top break. You got to feel. I'm not shorting it myself, but I was looking for a dip that would give you some kind of a reasonable long entry. I thought there would be something, maybe VWAP or consolidation. It's getting a little top heavy up there, and it's at a notable high on CGC. So when in doubt, zoom out. I mean, you really couldn't have had a long up until now that was in danger. Just be a little careful up there.
I was just reading about Village Farms International, VFF. Cannabis names across the board going to be going. Now we're seeing some of the growers And this company actually sells, I think, equipment to build greenhouse type situations. So even these getting a bit of a boost. Here's 21% for VFF currently, if anybody was wondering on that. Yeah, we were touching on crypto this morning. To the downside we go. There's Coinbase, a couple days in a row. This move continuing along with Bitcoin giving up on some key levels here for a
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Major move down for a lot of these crypto names, included chief among them, Mara down almost 10%, 9 3/4. But the one that's really standing out here, Brendo, is this 16% drop on MicroStrategies. They reported yesterday after the bell, and here is how they did. So currently, they're holding about 214,400 Bitcoin with an average price of around 23,680, which is good, obviously, based upon where the current price is. But the revenue came in a little light here, $121 million they printed. The street was looking for a lot more than that, and it's about a 5% decrease year over year on profit.
Any crypto trades today, guys?
Not really. The closest thing to crypto trade for me was SoFi. But it has nothing. It's not a crypto play. It was just the same play as yesterday. SoFi on earnings was down. It was more than 10%. So yesterday it was look at the $7 level for an SSR bounce. It bounced long 7 into 720. Today said basically the same thing. It didn't get to 650. So in the morning when I didn't get this fill, I simply said the plan of action is don't chase it. It went to VWAP. If it puts in a higher low, there's the higher low. There's the consolidation break of the higher low. It's an entry at 66. It plays right into that resistance at 80, and it's still kind of carrying through. So when we talk about like a trade is an entire setup, it's wait for it to show the bottom, put in the higher low. You're in at 66 with a stop under here at 63, so it's 4 cents worth of risk. It trades up to the 680 level. Scalp some on the way out, but hold most of it for VWAP. Like I take some out here, but most of it we're holding in for VWAP. Trail some there, but then holding a small piece still left. So again, it's really just about taking advantage of the SSR play here on SoFi. Sucks that it's down. It was down 10%, down another 3.5 today, but a little bit of a bounce. At least it broke resistance this time in the afternoon. If it couldn't have taken out that 680, I would have been I'm still pretty worried about them actually. This needs to get back above $7. SoFi is in a lot of trouble. There was a move into 60,000 on Bitcoin. But when I looked at it, I didn't see a break of the level, so I didn't take it on BTC. Like I was looking for very specifically like a false break through 60,000. I had it up, it bounced off the level, but the strategy I was kind of looking for was an actual break of 60,000 and then back up through to go long IBIT. If you just went long in front, I guess you could have scalped it, but still waiting for a 60,000 true test on BTC.
Yeah, just looking back here, someone was in the chat. Oh, first of all, thank you so much for the super chat there, BGZ, right there with a couple of thumbs up. We'll thumbs that up as well. BGZ, thanks for the fast weed news. You are welcome. We will start to look at some of these names as they continue to go up. And a big shout out to, I just saw this now, to Havana Woody. Thank you so much. Love the clown face there. Nice mask. Shout out to, or hopefully that's a mask, to Havana Woody. For all that.
I'd say it's a mask.
Yeah, I'd say it's a mask. That should be a mask there, yeah. All right, so good call there, Havana. Congrats on the mask. But yeah, so far so good here, as we will just continue our march forward, hopefully, with this market movement to the downside. Well capitalized here, obviously, for AMD, as we took some bids down there at that bottom. Well traded again for Tesla. Spin it. Thank you so much for the kind words about the masterclass. We always say that sometimes those who can't teach, but I'm trying to teach and do at the same time. So hopefully you guys are able to see that as we talk and work through some of these lessons. So it does mean a lot to be able to do this, because I came here with like no knowledge whatsoever of trading 23 years ago, and then just basically self-taught into here, and really been growing a lot with all of you recently. So a big shout out to everybody that's out there as well. I mean, this Tesla, again, man, we talked about it being a monster name for us today. It is exactly that. As it continues to go to the downside, it's a good move. Nice movement down. We'll see what winds up happening there with the TQQs. Okay, Apple, AMD, we will be having Frank Kaberna. I know there's some of you guys talking about that on the chat. He will be coming through today. Yeah, I mean, so far, crypto's held 60,000. So if you're going to look at Bitcoin, I don't know if Neil, did you pull up a Bitcoin chart?
Yeah, just briefly for a second.
Okay, if you did, that's fine. Anyways, 60,000, I'm not going to look at it. 60,000, such a key level. To me, we were getting some out, man. I told you that we had unstaked some of our coins and sold some of this. So it sucks to see them all the way down. But there are some names like, you know, you guys know we were talking about Solana up here at 185 and Cardano's in the 60s. This is still okay at 43. We're down to 124 Solana, Cardano, 43 cents. Shiba Inu getting roughed up a little bit as well. Look at the last 7 days. As the mighty fall, so do they all. And they fall harder. So, you know, like we said about come at the king, you get burned. Right now, Bitcoin down 10. The rest are where they are right now. So, yeah, that sucks for crypto off of that happening. So,
or it's an opportunity maybe to find a dip buy level. I still like the. It was like 54. Wait a minute.
come on,
I'd have to. I'll get to
Tesla.
like a weekly chart or like a 60-minute chart at some point on Bitcoin, but I think it was like 52 to 54. Looked pretty solid.
Guys,
As the market's
oh my
rolling
God.
back over.
Oh my God.
Apple, we just got that reload lower high. It's a bit of a trend line in there on Apple if you can look at since underneath VWAP. Yesterday, remember I had a bias and then didn't short the underneath Apple VWAP in the afternoon. I said yesterday that was. Oh, that's right. This chart's not. Shoot. Anyways, I didn't short it yesterday off of VWAP when it fell underneath. Today I wanted to do it. My chart's missing a lot of yesterday, but that's okay. Lower the day down to 172.80. We'll try to hold into that. I'm not feeling like 3 or 245 is going to hit and we have to bounce. That said, looking specifically at this name, Apple is still holding on to the 50 period, which is just at 173 even. So I want to respect that and get some out right around that level because this bottom here on the gap up for Apple is the 50 period on the daily. So if we bounce off that, I do want to get a leg out and then maybe look for a trade retracement back into it. So you just got to be a little bit patient with Apple. I'd love for it to actually, for the long term, you want to hold in the 50 period moving average, but what I want doesn't really matter. The market doesn't care what you want to have happen in the long term, so we're just trading the trend. There was the other. Yeah, this Bitcoin is what I wanted to talk about. I said I would go to like an hourly chart for you. Look, it's a decent pullback. I think you're on some support now, which 60,000, obvious. If it breaks it, it is down at 52. So not 54, I meant 52. It's a bit of a gap fill down to the 52 level, and I think that could be an opportunity. The difference between the other halvenings and now, usually it's up into the halvening. It actually was off of the highs, but that's because the ETFs pushed it higher. So I think you're getting different behavior. And that's the problem with these types of technical patterns. Like, well, 8 of the last 10 times this happened, or the last 3 halvenings, this is what happened. Well, they never had ETFs come out and cause a bull run into it going into that. So you can expect some different behavior. Always be careful with statistics like that. Well, when you hear, in May, this happens 9 times out of 10. Well, if something is vastly different, let's just throw it like COVID or something like that, then you've got to adjust because those types of things aren't true 100% of the time. And when it's different, you don't want to treat it as absolute gospel. I think that's perfectly reasonable that the high came before that halvening because ETFs were a big deal.
Okay.
All right.
We can go.
Take one. All right, we'll go. Let's talk about Roku here just to wrap things up. We were touching on the TTD Trade Desk deal that was announced this morning, digital advertising company teaming up with Roku, digital advertising partner or platform, and a partnership makes a lot of sense. Data-driven way of selling ads for Roku.
I have read this article a few times. I'm not really sure exactly how the execution is going to go, but here's what they say. Roku intends to enable advertisers on the Trade Desk platform to utilize Roku's media, audience, and behavioral data, enhancing their campaign optimization for TV streaming viewers. We know that Roku has well over 81 million active daily users as part of their platform, so I'm assuming they're looking to monetize them here. I hope we'll hear more about this and more details.
Yeah, nice start to the day, guys, but back to the downside we go for, both. I was looking at the Trade Desk today as well, but we did test that high initially on Roku, but no such luck for follow-through.
Yeah, I'd say more. I think you're being very kind with no such follow-through. This is not necessarily what you want to see when a stock is bouncing off an earnings bottom. Like, this is a good level, that 56. So big support level, held on after earnings. You get a positive catalyst, higher lows, and what does it proceed to do? Dump the entire thing all the way back into the bottom. So I'm going right back to where maybe it happens, maybe it does. I'm going right back to where my thesis is, flat bottom break when it happens on Roku at 56. That's the post-earnings low. Even when you get good news, you're fading it. So I didn't trade it today. I said I'm not interested unless it's breaking out that 63 again. That's bullish to me if it can actually get through that top, which would be resistance on the daily. And here, I'm not even talking about like 67 up there. I'm just like, break this level. It's also the 50 period. I'm not touching that long unless it shows me more strength. Otherwise, we're looking for a short opportunity on Roku, do 56. I'm sure maybe it's a good deal with the trade desk. I really don't know. Just going to follow the price action on this one because Roku didn't do a big move after earnings, and it usually does, which means it could be coiling up for one.
I just want to say, I have nothing to say about Roku or anything like that. I mean, we'll talk about some of the earnings plays as they come through on the market recap show. I know it's not earnings, but the trade desk. I like the trade desk. They were added to the S&P 500 earlier this year, last year, right now. I just want to note that we just got out of Tesla right there. We only have now maybe 15 or something % left of this. So nice moves down to the downside right now for that one. So we will have Frank coming up right immediately after this as well. And remember I think it was about a month or so ago, I said that I really felt that this, the traders behind us and everybody was really starting to turn everything around. Well, you just talked about odds and percentages and everything like that, Neil. And this month, we say on average, 10 to 15% of the traders will be positive. Well, I think there's 3 or 4 positive traders in the U.S. market in our office this month out of 18. So that's a little bit better. So we'll say congratulations and props up to those guys behind us there because, that's a decent percentage there. Obviously, we'd like to get it higher and higher, but, as the market goes, I think it's 3 traders out of 17, so not bad. Looking to get higher than that, but that's right around that 20%. So congratulations to that. Sometimes higher, sometimes lower, but so far so good. Thank you, CompSR. And again, that's what we have to do. We have to have good vibes, right? So good vibes there. AMD, that's just U.S. markets. So there's that, right? That's what we trade here on the show, so I'm just going to talk about those markets. We do have, the best part about real trading, of course, is that we have over 50-plus markets worldwide. We have over 3,000 traders. So that's what I'm talking about. If you get 20% of your crew rolling, you're happy. We've got that going here. 3 billion worth of trades daily. 400 million shares traded. And with the Dara now live, 401 million shares traded. And yeah, so we're 1 million shares traded for Dara today. No, I don't think that many. Yeah, no, not that many. But so far, so good here. There's Neil. So, congratulations, everybody.
I'm at my desk.
That's at Real Trading. Good success, but that's about right. So I just want to be real with everybody on that one.
Remember on a prop floor, like you earn the right to go live, and then you have like that limited risk to begin with, and you sort of build from there, right? So like that's a big part of the litmus. And an advantage at Real Trading under a system like that is it builds like you basically have discipline set in because you have those risk stops. So if you're trading at home, you have to have this internal level of discipline, or you're trading on your own account and there's nobody holding you accountable, you need a lot of internal discipline. When you trade for a prop floor, where you trade where there's risk rules that are enforced, then that is actually built there for you. That is a pretty decent advantage because you're forced to learn that regardless. You can't just cowboy forever, which if you have your own retail account and whatever you put in, you can have whatever rules you want and it can get out of hand. So, oh shoot, what was that? No, never mind, that was nothing. It's a marijuana. Every 2 seconds I keep hearing yada, 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 CGC, yada, 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 ACB. We know they're going. There was a question about this ALCC for me, what do I think about it? anytime you show me a gapping stock, and the problem with these, I know a lot of times we'll see a stock that goes one day, and then it'll be pulling back, and then we get a question, what do you think about it? Well, generally speaking, I never like these day two plays when it gives up a bottom like this, cannot hold the higher low, right back underneath previous resistance and volume dying down. Like whenever I'm trading something like that or looking for a play, like I did trade Mullen that one day, it's got to be holding like that 14. Like if it bounces here and breaks that out, like I don't mind longs like that. And then you give it to there. But when it breaks down under, I'm out. Like it's just, where's the strength? The volume's now gone. You stay away from some of those. And volume's not very good anyways. 1.2 million shares for a stock like this and dwindling going into the afternoon. So I'm going to stay away from ALCC, CGC, all of that good stuff. It's now 40% up, still challenging that. I guess that's like hard to tell. It's the high on the year because obviously the post split, but these aren't split adjusted, so I can't tell you what that equivalent might have been when it was $2. But up 38%. It needs to punch through this 1160, and you're seeing it have a lot of trouble. That's the double top. So I'm expecting a bit of a pullback. VWAP would be ideal. It could get to VWAP. It could be a halt down if it were to fall into VWAP fast enough, but I'm anticipating there will be a pullback that we can maybe find a consolidation long on CGC. I'm not chasing tops in these, I already said.
All right. Well, we're getting lighter on all these positions. The afternoon does get a little slower for my account, like we said that before. Like we could see the net that we're at, and we want to make sure that we can preserve that and wait for good trades. In the morning is when we really, really get going and put on what are hopefully our best trades. Now, I think we've done some amazing trades here right now, shorting Tesla, but the movement has to happen, right? So we took advantage of that. If we're ever going to get 200 period pullbacks, we're going to have to take advantage of it. So that's what we did there. Oh, and then when I wasn't sure if we were going back or forth there. I just wanted to say we did get out of PayPal, put that one on the board right there. So that's going to be a nicely positive stock here today. PYPL up 2% and a good name. I still think this one breaks out and looks like it wants to go higher. So that would be something to look for moving forward. I like the name. I think it can work off of these levels and break higher. So we'll wait for that. Square down 3%. Again, with crypto down, Square has spent some money in developing wallets and crypto trading and all that. So maybe there's something there as well with Square. But before I move off of it, let me just double check when does Square report. Oh yeah, Shopify. Let me look at Shopify. Shopify was $70. That was the level that we wanted to look at. So we'll go back over and look at that. Square May 2nd. Yeah, so that's going to be coming out this week. So watch out. Shopify's not till next week. So we'll watch out for Square. But all right, let this one settle down. I don't like it obviously as nearly as much as PayPal. As PayPal's up here, Square's down there. So I don't like Square, not even in the same category as PayPal for me right now. And then Shopify is the one that I have the most in. But I have taken some out of Shopify, but I feel like it was in and around these areas the first time, and then we felt bad when it popped, and now I feel like I really want to get long, but their report I think is coming May 8th, and we wrote down today 70 as a possible bottom for Shopify. The funny thing is, the only time it's ever been under 70, I remember on the daily, we actually lost that day when it popped under. Oh, there is a big movement to the downside on the split, but right there, when we popped below it, I remember taking that and wicked out of it and all the way back up to 74, 75. So I still like Shopify. Debating this Apple trade. We've already hit it. It's your second trade of the day. PL1, Tesla, PL2, Apple. Apple's in the top right of this, shorting 175. So we have it 5 or 6 times. And then boom to the downside. And right back into the low of the day. I was waiting for the 50 period. We've used the 50 period a couple times to get out of trades. And for this one, for Apple, should be another opportunity down there at 173. So yeah, maybe it's Bitcoin at 60.
If it even gets there.
That we have to watch out for.
I'd love for it to test. I'd love for it to test that level. I mean, I'm gonna have it up, and I'm gonna have IBIT in case there is a false break of 60,000. I don't know that I want the short through. Oh, no, I don't. I was actually gonna talk about Affirm, and then Sean mentioned it's fine. You can go to the chart, Ram. I was gonna talk about Affirm when you were mentioning. IBIT. It was Shopify and.
Oh yeah, you can do Affirm. Yeah, do Affirm.
No, all I wanted to say is this stock, and I've ignored this pattern for like 3 days, and I think you'll see where I'm getting at here. look at the trend down. Look at every single time it's crested. Like when it finds a level, look, it found it at 40. It failed at 50 period. Then it found a level at 38. Down in here to be shorting. Kind of had some trouble if you had maybe one shot to get this one. But then the last couple of days in here, it's into this 34. Now it's probably, and this is what I mean to say here is when you see a pattern like this, I should have been short Affirm, either yesterday or today. And now that it's already gone down, when it's trend down, you look for the next step. So if it's failed this level and is trending down, then the support in here at 32.65, 70, that would be the fade, at least temporarily until something else happens. And oh, look at that, 32.65. It also happens to be VWAP. So, you know, I'm going to be looking for some shorts. I think I should have been short this stock every time it gives you a clear step down on this trend. I think you want to short that top, at least until it gets back to the $30 level. And when do they report? Let's just double check because I actually don't know. Oh, they're also on the 8th. So you get on May 8th, which, what is that? I mean, it's sometime next week. You're going to get Square and Affirm. That should at least be pretty, well, no, it was a Shopify and Affirm.
Sorry,
check that. It was Shopify and Affirm. So you still have some good movers on earnings next week, but I like this one back in the VWAP. Maybe it gets there today, maybe it doesn't, but it's almost 245, so it has nothing to do with Frank, but sometimes I look for things that I want to short a pop in. I know Apple back up at VWAP, and now Affirm chilling at VWAP. If it gets up there, I'm expecting some resistance. On Affirm, Intel, I don't think you see VWAP on this one. But if you do, that's 31. I'd take that as well. Dan McIsaac says CGC is, yeah, you know, the dip buy in here was obviously a fail.
Wow, still going, okay.
Good for, I mean, what are you supposed to do? We'll hit this one for you guys.
So long.
I know, but it's like every single, you know what, this is, okay, here. This is a weird trend line to draw, but if you look at it after the news breaks, and then it's like parabolic into a steep stair step up. I know it's really steep, but it's actually been holding that trend line. It's not VWAP. You got to look at it after the initial move. So this is the biggest candle on the news being dropped. It's actually the second 3-minute candle, and since then, if you draw a trend line after that fact, it's holding that trend line. So VWAP sometimes can be a bit of a trap because things are just moving too much, and you have to find another entry point in there. And maybe I should have done that. If it pulls back in, it's like 1140 would be that trend. So that's where I will go dip buy hunting. Too anchored to VWAP, pun intended.
So we might, yeah, I like those anchors for sure. I like how Brian's on with me tonight, by the way. Join me on the Market Recap Show with Brian Shannon. He'll be coming out. He's a big, big fan of the show, and he'll be coming on tonight. And he always speaks so kindly of everybody. So shout out to Brian as well. All right, we're reloaded. It may not be for long. We just took more AMD up here. If this breaks 161, we are gone-zito on this one. We will wind up being pretty flat on this name. We don't have any trades earlier, do we? I just want to see if all of these equal flat. Yeah, so if we take out 161, we'll pretty much, I mean, we could be up small, but it'll just be pretty flat trade as we lost early here and then made money back there. And now we've reloaded it, so this will be like a 15-cent hit or so. It just didn't get too aggressive. We should have got more out when we were down at 160, basically taking $1. But we're back loaded up now. We're at 87. Let's just see if it works. I mean, we're short now. We can punch out if you don't like it and put a little bit of money in your pocket. We're bidding down here at 80 to take one piece. There it is. And then we're also at 72s to take a little bit more on the downside. But as you can see, we're working out just fine right now as AMD trying. Yes, let's go. Let's go. Like, this is what we're doing. Shout out to Kyle. Shout out to everybody that's watching right now. These trades are real. You know, we have Apple 185, 175. You know, the spot that we talked about at 8 o'clock this morning, or what time did we go on air? 8:30. Tesla, we have this trade as well from the morning, top side, 191 right now, and a reloaded position as we continue to go lower. So, yeah, man, things starting to work out. Look at this reload on AMD. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's what it is as we come crunning. Oh, dropping down. I never know which one the plane's going to be.
You know what that looks like?
There it is right there.
That's the
It's like Cocaine
I've
Bear.
been thinking about that. No, it's the plane from what's the Kevin Hart with Snoop Dogg where he buys the airline. It's basically that.
Cocaine Bear?
No.
Oh, okay.
You never seen it? I'm trying to remember the name of the movie.
Oh,
There's
I
this
know,
old
yeah.
gangster movie where like Kevin Hart plays this guy who like sues an airline and ends up owning the airline, and then he turns
What's
it
up,
into whatever. And Snoop Dogg's the pilot. It's purple, but you get the idea. I feel like Cat Williams should have been in that movie, but it was Kevin Hart and Snoop. But that's what that plane looks like to me. Apple is about to break, I think, down. But it is, I don't know, in a couple of seconds. It was not Con Air.
No, someone said Soul Plane.
Soul Plane.
I knew
the
that's
one.
what it was. I was just,
Soul
as
Plane.
soon as Melvin there said Con Air, that
I
was
knew
a good
it.
one, man. Shout
But
out to
that
Con
one
Air.
was that one was
Shout out to
perfect.
everybody printing, by the way. Like, look at the stink
Shorts,
face
man.
on AMD.
Shorts
we,
win.
Shorts win. Shorts been winning, man. We've been short pretty much every single. And again, if you just want shorts win, I mean, guys, this morning when the markets did not look like shorts be winning, we had written down here today, by the way. I don't know. Yesterday we were feeling bullish. I mean, today bearish. Today, so down 1.13%. And I love how Kyle Burdett now tagging and hashtagging real trading. So shout out to you, Kyle. I'm glad we got that started for sure. All right, look, from a couple real traders to another one. It's Frank and Brendo.
Yeah, lots to discuss. There he is. He's back from vacation. Well rested, my friend.
Feeling great, man. Yeah, very excited to be back with you all. I was out in the desert, out in western U.S. here. Some Utah, some Joshua Tree. It was great.
Amazing. Glad to hear it. We have a lot to discuss, so let's jump right into it here.
Right.
Big day coming up tomorrow, as we were discussing at the top there at 2 o'clock. And again, it's the same old, same old. Not going to be about what happens at 2 o'clock, but what's going to come at 2:30. I mean, we get a bit of a mixed bag. We got a lot last week as far as economic data, and most of it was really kind of two-sided.
Yeah.
Give me a rundown, maybe just to kick things off, of what happened last week, and then we'll touch on what to expect tomorrow.
No, I couldn't agree with you more that the data doesn't seem to be leaning one way or the other here, Brendan. But the market is really leaning one way now as we get close to this FOMC. And I mean, you are so on top of all of the data that comes out. This morning, I don't even know what the heck was going on, but right at 7:30, I mean, there was the employment, some like really small employment number. And of course, we have Jolts tomorrow, and we have non-farm on Friday. And obviously, we have FOMC tomorrow. So it's a big week this week. But I haven't seen anything really big come out in the last week or so. The PCE, I believe, was in line for the most part. Maybe, one number saying this, one saying that. To your point, pretty two-sided data for the last week or so. But now the market, the interest rate market, is really leaning into the idea of not so much action coming out of the Fed, not only tomorrow, but in the future few months here. And we can get into that data in just a second. But yeah, was there anything that you saw in particular that while I was out, or this morning, like I say, 7:30 here in Chicago, but 8:30 out on the East Coast, they slammed everything. And then it's been a nonstop way down for bonds and stocks and everything, and nonstop way up for U.S. dollar and U.S. rates. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, it was what I was thinking about was more along the lines of, and you can make the argument, Frank, if it's an employment cost number, meaning employers are having to pay more to cover payroll or cover salaries, things of that nature. That's not good if we're talking about the inflation battle and rising rates once again, or rising costs for wages once again. If you go back to last week, we got that preliminary GDP number as well that came in way off expectations. 1.6%. I think it was 3.5% was expected. And then, as you mentioned, the PCE kind of in line with expectations. So, back and forth we go.
Yeah, and getting into now, this will be another month where the Fed doesn't change interest rates, as the odds have gone. I've been watching it. You've been watching. Everybody's been watching it probably. the odds have gone from 95% about yesterday to now. It is a solid 99.5% chance that the futures market is giving of no change to interest rates. And so looking like, I don't know, I probably should have researched this before I jumped on, how many months this will be in a row now of unchanged action out of the Fed. But to your point, again, it will be, what does Powell have to say after this unchanged interest rate? And it's looking, I mean, the market is setting up like he is going to be more hawkish, and we might be sifting through more months to come of unchanged action. As this now, September, it was March where the first cut was going to happen, and then it was May, and then obviously now it's not going to be May, and then it was June, and then it was September, and this was 60% chance of the first rate cut coming in September, and now after today's action, it's at 50%. It's right there, 50-50 chance of the first rate cut coming in September. And the way this market is moving, they might price that out by tomorrow afternoon. And so we're looking at September, also looking at the chance of no rate cuts at all this year. I feel like I'm right so seldomly about it. And I wasn't even right. I was more just like a couple months ago, I jumped on and I was like, you know, Brendan, you and I look at the odds on this stuff. We're looking at futures prices on every market and the chances of something, you know, some black swan event occurring. And it was a 0% chance of no rate cuts in 2024 when I jumped on with you in January and February. And that jumped a little bit to 2 or 3% when I started jumping on in March and April. Now, in the last couple of weeks, this has gotten to a 23% chance now of no rate cuts this year. And now there's an almost 50% chance of just one rate cut that you see there. I mean, holy smokes, have these projections changed? And I mean, we're just about to get outside of April, but Brennan, we're 4 months into the year, and they're now effectively pricing out any rate cuts for this year, or maybe we'll get one. And that was 6 or 7 at the start of the year. A full 150 basis points worth of cuts was priced in. They've priced that now down to just 25 basis points worth of cuts this year. And we'll see if we get one in even September or by December, as this interest rate market is moving like crazy. And it's pretty much been one directional to the upside for rates, downside for bond prices. And it seems like, I mean, do you think that's what we're seeing with this stock move and this gold move? It's definitely what we're seeing for this US dollar move. I mean, US dollar is through the friggin' roof on these higher interest rate expectations. I mean, I kid you not, I'm planning a trip to go to Japan for next year because the prices are too unreal. If traders were watching currency markets Friday and into this weekend, you saw dollar get above 160 against the yen for the first time since pre-1990. I mean, this is data for 30 years plus, and the dollar blew through those 30-year highs, loving this higher interest rate environment, this higher for longer environment. But it seems like stocks and gold and everything else not loving it. I mean, is that what you're seeing? Because I can't help but it's happening in the same time. This morning, they started to pound on bonds and treasury notes, and in the same time, they're pounding on the stock market.
There was an expectation, I think, or underlying expectation in the stock world anyways, that at least a portion of this move back to all-time highs was made up of the thinking that, hey, rate cuts are coming, you know, spending is going to be easier, some of these companies are going to be able to, you know, get more funding and get more backing to fund their businesses going forward. As that has dissipated and been pushed down the road, the market continues to shrug its shoulders. So it's it's very confusing from that standpoint in that, yes, they're coming, but when is still very much up in the air and a huge question mark. Just to circle back to the Canadian side of things, the Bank of Canada was saying, it's not going to be June now either, even though we got a GDP print on this side of the border, I think it was yesterday morning, came in higher than expected, but only very, very slightly. Our economies, as we've said in the past, very, very different. But even, globally, that narrative seems to be gaining a little steam once again, where it's just not time yet.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. You and I have watched them price out, 6 cuts to 5 cuts. We've watched it week by week this whole time. And every single time, the stock market has dipped, and then business as usual by a day or two later. And I wonder if some of the bearishness we saw last week and we're continuing to see this week is the tipping point. You kept asking me, what is the tipping point where markets actually start to get freaked out by this a little bit? Because this is the Fed's game, right? Is they want to move inflation lower without freaking out the market. And so the fact that the market thought that we were at a peak of interest rates, it started to pick up last year. There was no coincidence that we started to price in the rate cuts in October, November, and the stock market went on a crazy run from then until recently. But it feels like we might be hitting that tipping point here. Obviously, we'll see if Powell comes out tomorrow and is even more hawkish, similar to the Bank of Canada, is like, listen, we're punting these cuts down the line, and we don't feel like we have to cut this year. They're still on the table, but we don't feel like we have to, because until now, the rhetoric has been cuts are coming at some point this year. Yeah, maybe they're delayed, but at some point this year. He kept saying at some point this year. If he moves off of that language a little bit, I wonder if we not only get the knee-jerk reaction from stocks, but we get, a pretty sustained move lower. That being said, it's been maybe 5 or 6 instances now where he's come out more hawkish than expected here in 2024. The market has moved lower, but then moved back to all-time highs. So, I mean, it's going to be a really interesting event here tomorrow. A lot of different pieces on the table. And then it's crazy. I don't remember this lining up in recent history, the last handful of months, but then we've got all this employment data throughout the week as well.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, we get, by the way, non-farm payrolls coming up. The other side of their job, I guess, is to make sure everyone has a job, and that's coming up on Friday. So it's a question of, you have this chart of Jolts, but Jolts has never really been the sticking point, I guess, for the employment market. It's good to keep an eye on, but I guess the question is, as far as the NFP for April goes, is it going to be 350 this time, or maybe even 400,000? Like, how much more is it going to be over what is expected? I was just checking, it's 238 is the forecast.
Okay.
I think the last one was in or around there, 200 and something, and it came out 330.
Yeah, it was expected last time around 200, and the expectations have been around 200 the last handful of non-farms, but they've been blowing them out. And so, and for context for everybody out there, this is the number that Powell's really been leaning against as like, inflation's moving lower. We could probably cut rates here this year, but employment is still so strong that we don't really feel like we have to. And so if you saw, even if you saw a hawkish Powell tomorrow, if you saw data from the employment side of things on Friday that was lower, then that might reverse a lot of this, because that, I think, would be the thing that would spook Powell, would be like, oh man, if employment's starting to dip and inflation's at 2.5%, and we're arguing about, half a percentage point, then maybe we will cut once or twice here this year. But yeah, man, if we get a hawkish Powell tomorrow, or even an even-keeled Powell, and another 300K number from non-farms on Friday, hold on to your hats. This might be a really interesting end to the week. And yeah, the Jolts, it's funny, Brendan, I think they changed this. I get a lot of data from tradingeconomics.com. And they have upgraded this Jolts number. At least I think they did. I don't remember it being a top priority number, but now it is in their top priority subset in their economic calendar, because it's one of these things that non-farm has always been a top priority number. But employment has been so important recently that this Jolts number has also started to really move markets. So, I mean, this morning, to your point, I think it was that employment change number at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, that kicked off these markets moving, and that's absolutely not a high priority number. And so we'll see what the Jolts, we'll see what the non-farm, and obviously what Powell has to say about all of it. But I expected a quiet period leading into tomorrow, Brendan. It's been anything but quiet, and now we're set to have a pretty volatile rest of the week, which is, hey, good for us traders out there.
Yeah, definitely. I was just sitting here thinking, you and I may be sitting here talking about this again this time next year, and we'll see if anything has changed by then, because the way we're going, it's not going anywhere. So anyway, gives us something to look forward to. Great stuff as always. Frank Kaberna, Director of Strategy over at IG.com in Chicago. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brendan.
I mean, the market still went down, but there was like a little rally, little bit there. Thank you, Frank.
I'm glad with that one. That was a good one.
But you know what I'm actually glad about too was that, I mean, Frank had the exact, because Frank talks the higher level, so he'll know more about these numbers. Like, he had the same reaction to that number this morning that we did, which was like, hey, like, what the heck is that thing?
Right.
And why is it even moving the market? But he makes a good point. Like, it just means that you maybe have to pay a little bit more attention to each of the job, anything related to costs and related to labor costs, I think is going to become more and more important. I know you guys, it's something, labor has been something you guys have talked about, or the job market in general on the podcast a lot. I think it's becoming important. I'm not saying every single number that has like a 1 star or 1 bull, whichever site you're looking at, you got to pay attention to. But yeah, you know, if it's got a 2 on it, maybe just have it in the back of your mind that you could see some movement. I don't think we're back into the days of things going ham. I will tell you that Bitcoin did make the underneath 60,000 bounce play. However, look at the trade that I was looking for, I didn't put all in because my book wasn't working on the actual BTC where I could see all the books here at Real Trading. That was actually a little bit stuck. So what I looked for in that play is you break the bottom, and then once all the books, like all 5 of the different books we have, like Kraken, et cetera, Binance, blah, 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 once they were all back above 60,000, punch long. That play is not the one that I put on. I just simply watched it go under 60,000, consolidate over like the standard long. But that's not the one I wanted. So I didn't have the confluence I would have liked. I would have put a few more shares on, but my book wasn't working on BTC. I think the problem is like it's still a bit of a test thing, and I think we're supposed to still remind them, hey, I'm looking at it today. Make sure you turn it on. That's on me. So I think I did that same thing. You know, basically it wasn't running, but that's fine. The bounce off 60,000 did happen. It got to 59. I still was able to look at TradingView going all the way over to here. So there is your break of 60,000. It got like a couple of bucks underneath. And then once it consolidated higher, IBIT is what I'm going to trade because it has the best volume. I know some people prefer some of the other ETFs, but you know, for my money, this does the best volume. There's your higher low. We grabbed 40s to 34 20s with the bottom at 10s. So first 10 cents, we got 30. I'm offering right here like 41 underneath 42. And then up at VWAP, we'll try to take some out as well. Apple trailed out because the market bounced. Thanks, Frank. So we shorted off VWAP, and I'll short VWAP again if we can get it. That's a long ways away. Actually, that's not true. It's 50 cents away. But for Apple, it seems like it's a long ways away. But yeah, Bitcoin holding the 60,000. If it breaks, now that it's gone one level up, my strategy is if it breaks my entry, no longer that 60,000. If it can't hold that, I'm out. So we move the stop up when it goes one level up.
All right, thanks, Frank. Yeah, good talk there. It always is, man. Join us every Tuesday and Thursday for more. Frank Kaberna from IG. Make sure you scan that QR code whenever it's up on the screen for IG.com. Thanks again, Frank. And for right now, it's Trade Ideas. And we use that all the time for a lot of these scans. Yeah, we should have just punched long on CGC. It's quite ridiculous that we are not long one of these names already. So I'm going to go over it. Oh, before I go over to that, so again, money taken, money earned, money put on. It is what it is. We are now $1 in the money on Tesla, $1.50 in the money. We just put this short on for everybody. We put both of these on Well, this one while on the show, this one before, which is worse. So that was a good trade. That's 185.50, which we're short right now. And as you can see, we're at 183.80 and going lower. I mean, we talked about being bearish on Tesla today. So there it is right there, 191 as it was written. And then all the way back in, and there we go one more time. So it's going to be one of those days again for us. This is why I can't take sick days, man. I can't take any days off. Me and Brendan were talking about that. You know, when is enough enough? I say never, but at some point it will be. Nice move to the downside. We'll capture a little bit more if it comes in, but I want to try to hold this into the close. We have power hour right now. I'm not sure about NVIDIA's numbers, and nor do I really care for now, as we'll wait to see about a push down here into the close. AMD's 50 cents in the money. Apple's that $1.75 from the jump. We'll probably, I kind of want to hold this. We're still under the 50-period moving average and well away from VWAP right now. So I still okay to hold all these shorts. We're really, really printing. Like, we're at the highest spot we've been at all day right now, just holding these 3 trades as they just keep getting juicier and juicier. So, I mean, holding a position is a trade. I could get out. But we're not. So right there goes Apple down again, man. Will Apple take 173 and go back into these lows one more time? We had written on here Shopify long, Tesla short, PayPal long, perfect. Apple short 175, Palantir short $23 for, didn't even look at that today. But yeah, I mean, 22.90 is the high of the day. So that against 23, I was going against 23.10. So I would have preferred that fill, but right down into there, you could see now $1.90 in the money on the low side of that. So yeah, man, pretty good. And then I said that we had screwed up, and we should be long something in CGC. I mean, I feel like just looking at the chart here, there has been real no pullbacks, but on each one of these dips, there's been opportunities. So I feel like the next kind of a dip, we should probably do that. Now up 53% and really, really rocking. Tilray. Again, the story continues with Tilray as well. Just keeps on climbing. Look at these 50-period retracements. Like, come on. I mean, this is the thing about, I say this all the time, doing stuff, speaking it during lessons or anything like that is one thing. Actually putting the trade on is a completely different story altogether. Like, I have these 50 periods up, and like if you're on the stock, like that's a long. So it's about not just teaching how we trade, but also following the rules and you know, giving you guys ideas that we have and then proving them to you to be good ones. So for right now, I'm going to hold Tesla in the money $1.70 and going lower because we really prefer that. AMD and Apple, both you know, both positions that we'll hold on to and look for more longs. We did get out of our PayPal rate here. It's not moving. PayPal's not moving at all, which is kind of like, with the market making that move down, I got out thinking this would happen. Like, look at the market, man. You know, went down 50 handles. PayPal didn't do anything. If anything, it went up. Today is a good day.
It's all good. And I wanted to show, we haven't shown an actual split adjusted chart of CGC, so that's on me. Obviously, ours don't adjust to the split here at Real Trading, but at the end of the day, you can look at this. We talked about it making a breakout of a recent high, but if you're even looking at these tomorrow, look at the decent sized gap fill it has. If it's going to hold on to $11.50, presuming it does today, there's still an hour left in the day. A lot can happen in that time. There's a lot of room, whether it's $15 in here, whether it's like $17, $18. You can do the same thing with with ACB. It doesn't really matter. All I'll say is, obviously you had to make an adjustment. I always need to know where I'm out first, so when it's bouncing off VWAP or something else, the new thing I put in was this I'm like, oh, let's put a steep trend line in from when the volume came in because it was holding it. And then the second I'm like, I'm now willing to take it off that trend line, all of a sudden the dip can't even get to it. So it's like it's actually accelerating as it gets higher is what this demonstrates. Like now it's just further away from a steep trend line, let alone VWAP. But that intersects with $12, so that looks like a bit of a play. I'm trying to get more IBIT out because the market's trend down. And it tried to get to that 40 level. As I said, it's a break-even stop now. I want someone underneath that 40. I'll hold the rest into VWAP. Intel's not going to get to VWAP either. But this was the only thing I wanted long, and even then it was like a false breakdown. If it breaks 60,000, I'll have gotten out of it already. because that's a higher low that we have in there. I'm respecting this trend as far as I'm concerned. The trend is your friend. A fail break is a nice little bounce play. Either it continues or it doesn't. And I am still in Sofi. Someone asked about that. I'm holding the last 5% of it. I just put an offer at the high of the day. If it bounces off the up, which it has, and then gets to that top, we just get out. I moved my trailing stop from here into here, which is 675. So I'm all done with Sofi, I think, for today. And tomorrow it's not going to be SSR. So, that trade's pretty much done. After 2 days, it goes back to being just a normal stock and not an SSR bounce play.
184.75. Okay. Just looking at this Tesla again. Our out was nowhere where we are now, so we're going to put an out right here. If we take the 200 period, again, we'll let it go down. We only have, like I said, that 15, 20% of this position left, but we'll try to hold it for a downside move. And if we do get an opportunity to reload it, I think we should probably do that in and around 184.60. So let's try that. A reload of Tesla short up and around that 184.60, giving us up to about 185. So let's put a stop out there at 185.02. Just really quick, if it breaks it, we'll get out of 75%. This time we are well playing with house money right now. So, a good day so far as we've talked about that. But we're going to try to make it better. If it does pop up, we do want to short this name. That is Tesla short for that. What's up, UL? Do I think Amazon will go up? So, we nailed Tesla, we nailed Meta, Google, we talked about them probably. We've said that it's our largest holding, so we like that one. We had one more. We've been 3 for 3 on the big caps. I'm going to wait for Amazon. I think the quarter, I don't know what the quarter is going to be, obviously sitting here and predicting what it's going to look like. I think this is setting up for a take of 190 and then maybe 200. To me, I think AWS will be good. We've heard good numbers from Azure. We've heard good numbers from Google Cloud. We've heard good advertising numbers as well. Like we said, Meta had a great quarter. Let's see if Amazon Prime, I don't think the streaming will be a big story here. Wow, AMD now is starting to go lower, and that's a good one, man. $2 in the money on Apple. But I like this defensive 175 there. I don't know what, that wick must have been that day, Friday, that we got all the way down to 165. This is a name that I want to buy up. I think the retail landscape, no matter what happens in the quarter, I think the retail landscape has changed so much. And Amazon is such a huge part of everybody's life right now. And then they have some more levers they can pull. They just talked about grocery. They won't get any money out of that for a minute. But until that gets going, there's so much more they can do. And I just wait for technology to win the day. And with AI and their investments in Anthropic, stay tuned tonight with the recap show. We'll have this all live. The expected move so to answer your question, yes, I think Amazon it has well positioned to make some moves. By the way, pay your damn taxes today. I did that, and not happy about it. But hey, man, taxes are.
All Americans already did that.
Thing is, what I thought about it is whenever you have to pay tax, sometimes it's a good thing because you're paying tax on hopefully profits. So it's never my favorite time. But there it is right now. AMD expected move right now 8.5. Amazon expected move 8.5. As if, man, we keep saying this right now, and I just said, we're going to play the dips on CGC now because it's ridiculous that we're not in this name. And then there we go, man. Now CGC up again, 1340 and blast off. Look, man, today will be a trophy day, but the whole point is we're missing lots of opportunities. This is what matters. Where is your bread buttered? I can tell you where mine is. We've already talked about that. But at the end of the day, if you're trading these small cap names or stocks that are moving like this, man, oh man, it's been a good one to get high with. And right there, we also have Weed Batman in the building as well. So nice moves up for CGC, Tilray, ACB as we continue to go higher on this. Intel, nah.
That stocks continue to go down. I'm still in it.
Baba.
Continue to go. Alibaba, I like Alibaba. I actually threw a stink bid today at lunchtime on.
You might get it.
No, not like it was not. I'm already in Alibaba. I was gonna say Amazon, because it's the 200 period moving average. I'm like, if it just, it would have to do more than the 8.5%. But this time I want to be in there. And this time, if it bounces anywhere near the 200 period moving average on the daily, I'm just going to not miss it. Like if it pops down in and say bounces off of 158 or 159 instead of 155, then I'm just gonna get in somewhere. You know, even if you miss it, but I'm stink bidding. I want to say, I feel like it was 155.42, but it might have been like 22 or whatever. It was 155 to 156. I don't think it does that kind of a move, but I love the 200 period on Amazon. No questions asked. CGC, there's not much to say, but like I set a rule that I wanted and it didn't happen. ACB is not nearly as strong, but like that's a distinction without a difference. I feel like I tried this one, and then when it made the move the second time off this level, that was the time. Bitcoin, oh, by the way, remember I said Bitcoin, make sure we'll have a break-even stop on it? If it's gonna bounce off 60,000, I'm taking it on the bounce, and I'm not reloading that trade. That is a false break. Go back the second time through. I'm not holding it. I told you guys it couldn't turn into a losing trade. I'm going to stay away from the bid now that 60,000 is gone altogether. And I bet you Coinbase is doubled it. No, never mind. Only 7% down. I kind of thought maybe you'd be a little bit more than that on Coin. Almost at the $200 level. This is in some trouble. It feels like Coinbase. It just broke major support. It just broke trend line support. Bitcoin lost 60,000, and they report in 3 days. Today's the 30th. I should check that. Nope, they report on Thursday. So yeah, you better have something good to say, Coinbase. Otherwise, you could be back in the 140 to 160 range. I think that would be entirely possible for a coin. That said, I think it's probably worth a buy down there. CGC very cheap.
Man. Yeah, I'm still down.
I'm not valuing.
I showed Sharif I'm down 99% on my Aurora trade. And CGC, I think I'm only down 70%. So add some levels back into CGC and we'll be okay with that one. But yeah, Cannabis, been a rough ride. But yeah, we knew heading into an election year, there would be some talk. And talk of Cannabis, is that what you got, Adara?
I actually had a little bit of context here for crypto. Not sure if this is what made that move down for BTC, but we did get a sentence for Changpeng Zhao, Binance's founder, sentenced to 4 months in prison after pleading guilty to charges of enabling money laundering at Binance. So that could be one element here to keep an eye on with regards to BTC news. Not seeing anything right now in Cannabis, though, guys.
Just talking to Fabian, made some moves in MSOS, and someone had asked in the chat, do you remember the Cannabis a few years ago, like that, the initial rally? I remember it well. And on this trading floor, I don't want to say 100% of the traders, but there was at least 2 or 3 months where 70 to 80% of traders were focused on Cannabis names every single day. And then when the top came in, there was some opportunities to go short, but it's like everyone went back to what they were doing. So when the ride is there, it is worth it being the right names. MSOS is cresting for a potential flat top break. Here, C113L. I didn't say anything about Alibaba. I'm not really going to get into that one. We'll talk about that one when it sets up. I think it's more about the Cannabis names and looking for something with some follow through. MSOS is dying in volume. It would seem like it's an opportunity for a chance to break, but really, like this is starting to get really parabolic on CGC. We mentioned 15 was a local high. I'm not touching that top. Tilray, all of these are getting way too top heavy. I think you're more in risk of a bit of a pullback here. I'm not punching the top. We look to join the trend. I set a trend line, and that would have been my out, but we're now $2 away from it. So I don't really want to buy. $2 away from that trend. It has to give me a reasonable entry off there. Otherwise, I'd almost be looking for a fade. We don't have free locates.
Oh, no?
No, we do. Maybe I'm. Hold on a second.
Man. I mean, guys, like, let's just be realistic here about how we're trading. Like, we've been talking bearish. You have to stick with the plan. We're $2.50 in the money now on Tesla. We're $2.50 in the money on Apple. We're $1 in the money now on AMD. And we said that we thought more damage to come in this market. That's why we were staying short. Covering means you think it's either at a level that's going to stop or, yeah, that's it. It's at a support level that you think, or it's at a rule and you're out. But you know what? You can't, like, if you think the market's going down, like, I'm going to get out if it gets all the way back up here. I'm not simply just going to stop out if this bumps up $1 or something. Like, we got to get going. Like, we think this is a downside push, and it's really, really changed everything for me. And it's great that it's happening during earnings season, but at the same time, it's really starting to pay dividends, being able to hold and make these kind of plays and being on the right names at the right time. And today, I feel like we've done that. And even PayPal, this could be a possible buy here at this level. It's into the 200 period moving average. This has been something that we've looked at. Now, it hasn't mattered much right there, although it did hold. Ooh, are we going to make a Katina cross here with the 50 and the 200 on a 1 minute chart? I have no idea what that means.
What's
but
the cross?
No idea. 50 and a 200. Self-inflicted wound of the Katina cross. Nothing to do with anything. I just made that up. But anyways, the idea here is that we are bouncing off 68 a little bit, which is where the 200 is. I'm going to stay sort of in the pocket with trying to get short and then just look for some stops potentially now. Tesla being this far down, we're still going to use the 50 period. So that's 184.30. So a move back of $1. Like I just was using that dollar as an example, but that looks like that's where we'll get stopped out if that does happen. But again, to be in the money here, you have to sort of take your shots and hopefully they'll pay off. NVIDIA obviously was one where I like it.
I know how I feel about NVIDIA, but I've already
you've already said it. I feel fine about it. I was actually looking it up. My number one stock this month, and I advise everybody to do this because otherwise we're just sort of, you're just trading in thin air. My number one stock this month is the TQQs. And then that's followed by NVIDIA. But NVIDIA today, we won't be upset about that move. But at the same time, that high, these are all shorts, and then that's out. So this is a red stock for me today, despite we took profits early, lost. So one for one, one for two, and then that last move right there, 1 for 3, and out at the high of the day for NVIDIA. But like I said, I don't let that stuff hurt me. Like that was 10 o'clock, and we are at the highest spot we've been at all day today, holding multiple dollars. Right now we have $2, $5, $6 in the money across 3 names.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the one that I've got the one I want short to hold into, and Intel's probably going to go another 1.5 to the downside. And I'm the same 1 for 3 on NVIDIA. The only difference for me is it was like that top. When I made my note this morning, I actually sent a specific tweet about this top specifically. Like it wasn't even, it was like its own thing. So I know I should have gone into it a third time, and I like to evaluate that. It's just, like I end up limiting the loss to like a quarter of what even like a small win is for NVIDIA, but that's mostly because I had the first scalp trade for like a 2.5 win, and then we kept to that stop level, but there was a re-entry point. I know I got into ARM, but I think that was sort of like a secondary play that I didn't like as much as NVIDIA that just happened to set up. But I don't think the story is done. I think you could be under, we'll see, they don't report for a while. We get them at the end of the month on NVIDIA, and you're making lower highs in here. If it fails the 50 period, that's a heck of a drop down into that recent support level. So if you continue that pattern, first story obviously is going to be tonight with not just AMD. I mean, what was the intended move for? Expected move for SMCI. That's not nothing. And that stock, I mean, that's already under VWAP. That's already put in a hammer candle when they didn't give what you wanted. Like this looks like it could do some damage as well. But I'm hanging on to Intel because it's at its earnings bottom as we speak. It's not going to get to this level today, but I think it's going to get to the 20s and then retest the triple bottom at $25. That's my anticipation for this stock. I don't see a reason why it's not headed back to the 25. And if it gets there before I want to buy at the end of the year, then I need to see some strength, like some kind of a strong pattern off of that level, or I'm still putting the hold on that bad boy for a while.
Coke.
They didn't move at all, Coke, when I looked at it.
Lily's doing. I'm just going to be sitting in these. There's only 20. I mean, I gotta. there's only 20 minutes left. We're just topping off the day right now. It's been a fantastic one. We just bought a couple grand worth of Eli Lilly not too long ago down here at 7:30. Just added it to the long-term account. Basically put the same kind of money that we sold on Meta into Eli Lilly, just to sort of diversify a little bit. We're so loaded up with all the tech names again. So nice move right back there, upside for Eli Lilly. And by the way, we just did take profit right there on AMD. As we still have a piece. I mean, we'll be happy with this $1.15, $1.30 or so on that. Thank you, Kyle. I mean, you're the one that put in there real trading. It does mean a lot to me to be able to see that. And just to see that this is the kind of trading that a lot of you have asked for. And I've asked for it myself. Just being able to sit there and try to put on the better trades and, hold on to them as they're working, use different levels and just working out. We could get blown. We said this, man, 3 or 4 traders positive. It could easily blow up. I could blow up right here. Well, I can't in the end of this month. But, next month, you could get absolutely lit up. You got to stay in your lane, stay what you're trying to trade. And as long as things are working for you, keep hitting them. But make sure you have outs. Make sure you have stops. Be a risk manager. We have Brian Shannon on the show tonight. And there's nobody else. Like, if there was one person, Brian is always sort of speaking the same tunes. It's manage your risk. It's make sure that you put on the trades that you want to have. Put on as many trades as you can that's set up, but at the same time, analyze what moves you're expecting and the names that you're trading. There's so many. Like, I could go right now to Coinbase. Go, oh my God, Bitcoin's back to 60,000. What am I going to do with Coinbase? This is kind of like the old me, But for right now, whatever. And we've already tweeted that out. I feel that ever since I put this up, and I think there's 60,000 views, 67,000 views right now on this. And I just put this out, I think a month or so, February long. I said to Brendan today, I was like, where the hell did April go? We're on the 25th episode
dude. It's ridiculous.
of the podcast. Wow. But anyways, shout out to that. But yeah, this one right there, we talked about this. The more and more we trade here, we don't have any FOMO anymore, just positive vibes. And we put that in February. And then just earlier this month, Sharif, with one of the biggest compliments, he was talking about the good vibes and just how good it was to be sitting here and trading together. And so that's what it means to me here. Trading is not just about profits. And the minute you change that, you'll be able to have that success. But at the same time, let's not fool ourselves. If the emperor has no clothing, the emperor has no clothing. You have to look down and understand, we just filed taxes, so has everybody. How has trading been? Figure it out. That's the whole thing. Everything you do takes time and effort. Businesses fail. Most businesses that are open fail. Unfortunately, the stats for trading are a lot worse. But it's something like 90% of restaurants that open up. There's all a bunch of things like that. You can't just become a professional trader just because you want to. Put in the time, put in the efforts, and keep it real with yourself. That's the number one thing, and that's what's really helped me. Hit the like. How many subscriptions do we have right now? Hit the like, hit the subscribe.
Where's that countdown?
That's what I'm doing, Fabian. Let's see what what's the number? We're getting close. I think it's close to 450,000. Best guess?
449.
449.
420. I don't know, whatever.
449.1.
I just said 420 for jokes, but 121. I think we can get there. End of the week feels like an absolute lock, but let's get there faster than that. Let's put a Powell. When the Fed's not going to do anything tomorrow, so how about we do it tomorrow? When the Fed does nothing, then we'll hit that 450,000. But I can tell you this, over the years, the thing about trading is it is the most rewarding job because at the end of the day, you're your own boss, you're responsible to yourself. But when it's given something to you, you like giving back, and that's what I love about that community. So if you ask why we enjoy giving it back, I'm lucky. I consider myself very lucky, to have started out young enough that I think I probably had an advantage in terms of how young I started. I didn't have responsibilities, can give it a little bit of a ride. And then when you're able to look back and it's like, okay, you get your first car, you put a down payment, and you're able to have those successes off of trading, you're fortunate, and that's why we like to give it back. And I always like to learn, like what is the opportunity to learn from? And I just saw another one in here. We were just talking about SMCI, and this is just a complete coincidence. I saw someone in the chat say flat bottom break SMCI. I wasn't really looking at SMCI in the moment. Look at how clean that, it's an 860 break into 850. I wasn't looking at SMCI. That said, maybe that's a setup we should be taking. I know the one that I like. I've traded this, like I said, I've traded this 3 times in my life, and every single time was the same setup. And it will almost happen today. It's a break of the high where it's trending up, fails the top. So it's trending upside, fails the break of the top, gets back underneath, and it's a consolidation under VWAP. Now, this didn't consolidate down here, or up here, sorry, it consolidated down there. I ended up putting the trade on an arm, but that is the setup I like. And when it happens, you just go over and you do it. Now, unfortunately, that one didn't really set up for me. Maybe it does at another point. I had said it's 3:30 now. I had said we don't have locates on CGC and all that stuff. And I was pretty close to paying for them and elected not to. I didn't think it would get to $15, so I said I'm not going to pay for the locate this late in the day, and CGC turned at 14 bucks. So I'm not shorting it. Even if it goes down, I couldn't. We don't have the locates for free. They're probably really cheap, but $15 was the level I was looking at on the daily chart, and the only place I would have even tried. I think it's too much of a rocket ship to that upside.
Rocket ship.
There's a better. I probably could have used like a weed pun or something, but no, I had nothing left.
That's a good pun. I like that pun. All right. Just looking forward here. I'm just trying to like basically think of new outs for myself. What we're gonna do with the trade, if and when it goes into the money for us or not. We're still looking at Coinbase. I was debating a $200 level here. I just think that, you know, if anything, probably IBIT a little bit of a better trade than a Coinbase right now, down 6, and Bitcoin really tank city, man. I mean, Solana, everything is are getting hit to the downside. Let me just refresh just a little bit right there on high heels on my tippies. I don't know if anybody heard of that song. Probably not. Neil, you're too old for that one. It's Nicki Minaj. It's okay. 43. I know. 43 cents right there. Solana 121. But right there, I know that was.
What, you know that song?
That hit that. No, Ty's old too. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's laughing like I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. He's laughing at the joke. Oh. About your age, but yeah, no. Ramin probably knows that. That's who hit the bang, I think. So obviously, the cool kids know that.
Obviously,
I got to stay cool. But okay, here we go. So far so good. I don't remember what we were talking about. AMD, nice out. I mean, look at that out there on AMD. Honestly, it came back into 160. We let it drop down a little bit. We're getting less and less. Outs or wins when you take them, right? Like if I don't take this right there, that's an out at 80. It's now at 14 the other way. We just made 40 cents. So that's that trade. And we're going to start to get out. Like we said, let's start to respect some of the rules that we have. So 184, here it is, man. Our last stop was 185. Our new stop is 184. So 184, I like to give it a little bit more. What is that, 20s? 184, yeah, nah, we're good. 184.02, because this 50 period is already at 90. So I'm okay with that. A little bit of a break. We gone 100% of that trade out if that does happen. We are two bones in the right here with Apple right here. Once, I mean, it just not wicked. It went down there and hung around at that bottom of 172 and change. Let's just do the same thing again, man. 173. I'm busy because like after this, we have the market recap show, and then we have Brian Shannon coming through, and then now I'm trying to organize, as I'm the head coach. I have 3 or 4 assistant coaches, but maybe our practice diamond is rained out, so we're going to be talking about that right now. I have some parents going to go find out if that. So I'm a little disappointed because we've had 3 events rained out on the weekend, and then everybody's so excited to get back on the field. We have some good drills planned for today. Kind of not really. I'll just sort of, do it. I know I hate rain out, so the kids get so excited.
Well, the thing is, because the kids will play in the rain. It's just like, you know how cities are, right? Like they're not going to let you on the field. They don't let you on the field if it's too bad, even though it could be doable. I know sometimes we get there, we'll rake it ourselves. And they'd be like, no, you're not supposed to. Oh,
yeah, we have to rake, yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, I feel like
City of Toronto lets you because we get the permits from the City of Toronto. We have to take care of the The park.
What are you guys doing with we can put the earnings board up if that's the hint that you're giving us. That's fine.
Starbucks.
Starbucks, AMD, Amazon, Super Micro computers. You know what? I feel like What?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. You want Wingstop? I was going to say Lemonade's a gigantic short float that's worth watching. Pinterest, I think, might be a bit of a problem. If Meta goes down, Pinterest usually goes down too. And then Lemonade, huge short float. Only ever worth watching 4 times a year, that stock.
Where's Wingstop? Is it on there?
It's tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Not tonight.
We're going to be having wings tomorrow on this show. I want
want
to
the
make sure of that. Ramin wants those. We're going to get wings tomorrow on this damn show. It's going on the expense account. Screw this. Ramin deserves that, so shout out to Ramin. She wants it. She gets it. Wingstop tomorrow. If, you know, we don't need to expense it. We just grab it anyways. We're going to get, is there a Wingstop around here?
I'm not sure where it is.
Oh, it's by, okay, yeah, I know where it is. Yeah, I got you. Just off College there. So we'll go down there. I'll go for my walk, talk, and Wingstop. So hopefully we'll be able to get that tomorrow for everybody. What's your sauce, Ramin? You have a choice, or you want to look? What do you want to do? Mango habanero. Jeez, man, who is this girl? We like her more and more and more and more and more. Mango habanero. That sounds.
I'm not gonna lie. The last time I had it, that was actually the wing that I got.
So damn good, man. This
girl
poker night is on fire.
I'm a fan. I'm down with that.
Shout out to Alicia Keys. This
100%.
Ramin is on fire. Wingstop stock is way overpriced. I don't even. What is the symbol?
What's the symbol?
Wing.
Yeah, well, that obviously. No, is it?
Yep. All right, so there it is, man. Wingstop. Wow,
Yeah, but
Ramin
what's the
doing
valuation?
business at Wingstop, boy. Yeah, I mean, this is just what Ramin.
163.
Ramin, slow down on the orders, man. Wingstop is just going insane right now. Wow, you know what? Forget about having some chicken dinner winners, man. If you own this stock, wow. Chicken, what's up with the price of poultry? We just had chicken last night. I thought chicken's still pretty reasonably priced. Shout out to Wingstop and not stopping. Wow, okay, Wingstop. Let me see what the implied move is for that name.
It's 165 PE, forward PE 104. The forward PE is 104. And price to sales, 25 times sales. Damn.
Damn, Shody. All right, we'll go to Adara first. What's up?
This part of the show brought to you by Trade Ideas. You can use real-time scanning and alerting used in our desk by many of our traders every single day. You can actually see what's moving in the market with Trade Ideas. All you have to do is check out the link in the description, and you can get 20% off Trade Ideas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 11.6 market cap, only 5% short
Trying to
flow.
find the expected move here.
So, yeah, that's got to be, with that kind of evaluation, you would expect it to be a volatile expected move. And I mean, 11 billion is not nothing, but it's a pretty small, so it would have been way down on that list.
11 billion. So this was like a 1 billion, like,
Yeah.
this was so small. All right, wing.
With that valuation up here, that could be trouble.
Wing?
That could be trouble.
Was it tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
Okay, check that, May 1st. All right, so here we go, 11. Let's go over to, I just want to, wow, okay, there it is right here. Wingstop, there it is right now. Yeah, there it is, the 10 spot right there. 11% chance of a move tomorrow morning for Wingstop. So wow, I mean, what a big mover there. Actually, Adara, I have another thing that I want to do for the recap show. I want to put down on our sheet, I want to put down the expected move.
Okay, I'll add to that now. Thank you.
It's all about content, man. It's all about content for everybody.
It's an important one because it gives you something to look for in the aftermarket move, and then like a level to hold or bounce off of when you're going to extend out of there. It's so important. It's also important to make sure we go over to Adara at the big screen.
Lots of names making some pretty big moves. We've seen on the downside on the S&P 500 right now, but here we're going to talk about some of the names we maybe didn't discuss making some of these outsized moves. They're all going to be earnings plays today in tune with earnings season, including MPC, Marathon Petroleum. This one reporting earnings beat across the board, but to the downside, saying that based on market indicators, they do see negative impact of about $2 billion on refining and marketing margin for Q1. They did add about $5 billion into their stock buyback program, though, NPC. Next up, we have 3M, MMM. This one to the upside after an earnings beat across the board. So nice look here for 3M, steadily to the upside. Another earnings name to the upside here, LDOS. This is Leidos. This one with an earnings beat across the board and projecting revenue and EPS above expectations. LDOS. Overall, pretty nice earnings moves for today, guys, in the S&P 500.
No, they're definitely solid. I mean, 3M, the rally 3M did off the bottom was actually pretty solid. You know, if you're into that sort of a thing, the volume's good, just not a trading vehicle for us here. And we did say, like, sometimes things like this that look like that on a daily chart, they're much more interesting for swings because look, you see the support, it holds it, it breaks it out. You're in here, stop there, maybe it goes into 110, and then you get your $5 change worth of risk, and you get a 3-to-1 if you're into swing trading. But that's like a very station-to-station stock. Like, I mean, look at this thing. Like, what else are you doing besides trading it from there to there?
Oh, yeah, they reported.
Yeah, they were, I mean, it was, whatever, man. This is one I don't read. Like, I'll go over the things that I'm interested in just to make sure nothing's standing out, but 3M was never going to be one that we're interested in trading. Oh, yeah, Snapchat. I wanted to get to Snap. We didn't mention Snapchat, just to go back over this. There we go, Snapchat. It didn't quite make that push through the 1550 for the long trade earlier today. And I did flip it into the short. So we're long this one, 15 into 1525 a couple times. I then flipped to the short. It got down to 1480, reloaded it, stopped out. It's going to hold 15. So Snapchat, despite the reversal, hey, we could still be going on this thing. Mm-hmm. So you look at it, like I thought it was going to roll over like everything else. And when you're bearish, even the strong names, you break down under support levels, I'm going to try to short it. But suddenly, a close above 15 and a takeout of the top, I'm right back to looking longs tomorrow on Snapchat. And I can't say that for too many things. So Snapchat, weed names, and then I'm open-minded on anything on earnings. Sofi I'm done with because it's no longer SSR, and I think the catalyst for this going up was the fact that it was short sell restricted, and now the trend is just to the downside. This stinks. It bounces and goes lower. It bounces. You win on the long because risk to reward's good, but it doesn't even get back to the previous day low. So this stock has not found a bottom. Maybe, just maybe, we're on a collision course for this, this 640 level down here, and if that breaks, there's nothing left till like $5 or $4.50 on Sofi. Yikes. This one's one that, I know it's a popular stock, but that chart doesn't look good if we get to $6. I think a lot of people might have some stops underneath $6. We'll see what happens, but I don't think I want to hold this one past 6. I'm making a decision on this one sometime tomorrow, or even on the train home tonight, whether I want to be in this one. I don't have a lot in it. It's more of a shot play, but even your shot plays, you ask yourself the question at some point. And this quarter's asking me that question.
Yeah, I'm asking that marijuana question way too late.
But I don't want this turning into something like, I don't think it will be. It's not a marijuana stock, but it's like, come on, man. What a terrible chart.
Yeah, it's a pretty terrible stock. All right, so right here, I just want to talk quickly about Tesla because we are now out of it. Ring the Reggie on that one. We'll put $2 and get out of there. Sorry, $1.48 on that. We were down to 183. We got out at 184. Didn't look great on the initial out. It did drop that back down in 25 cents for us. But again, we had saw what happened to us yesterday where we were long only on Tesla yesterday and then got hit a little bit going short late on the name. So I don't really want to be part of that today. So we will hold out that Tesla will try to do some kind of a dance back to the upside if we can get anywhere near VWAP. Completely different story, but it's already 343, so I feel like it's important to discuss that at 350. We do have the imbalances coming out and into earnings season. Yesterday it was 1.5 billion, and what it is just adds up, and those are the only numbers that we get are New York numbers. So when those all get added up, it was a big buy. So any shorts, if you're caught in that, like with all these bids coming through, then it just railroads you because right away everybody sees those imbalances, the algos kick in, and they start to buy it up because this is the amount of shares that will get done on the close. So this is for the closing trade, market on close. So some of you will have market on close keys and whatnot that will be able to be executed. Here at Real Trading, at your brokers as well, you can execute out of trades on close or on open. And traders like Michael Noss or different traders with different strategies will often use market on close orders. Michael was saying that he'll trade off the open and off the close. We've heard Sharif talk about how much he likes the closing print. So that's something to look at. Just be aware that I do have, and we all do, I'm sure Neil's in 2 positions as well, stops. So Tesla, happy to get out of that one. My stop for Apple right now, let's just refresh. I just want to make sure because I don't have a lot of orders out now, but I did have some stop orders out and I just kept on repricing them. Oh, now I can't refresh my blotter because it thinks there's already one happening. Great. All right, so my stop on this was, believe it or not, he is in at home. The Apple trade, my stop was 175.11. So we're short at 174.92. So 11 and 8, 19 cents worth of a stop, and we're in the money now, 220 at the low of the day again. So yeah, my stop is going to go in. I'm going to cancel that. We'll get stopped out again on the 50-period break of 172.85. 172.85, we're out of this one, and then that's that. So far, so good here as MSOS hitting brand new highs. Congratulations to everybody out there that is riding these pot stocks, and me included. I mean, we've got some of those in our portfolio. No matter how much we're down, we're making something back, at least by having these longs today. So it's been a good day for that.
What's jokes is I went to Dallas, our mutual buddy, Mitchell, and it was like one weed stock, and he was like telling me about it while we were at the airport or something, having a drink. He was like, yeah, just buy that one. Man, it was, the best thing about it is I bought it and it was like a double up in like 1 month. And did I take it out? Nope. I'm like, it's to the moon, baby. I think I lost like 25%. I was like, yeah, I'm done with these wheat stocks. It's not going to happen. But now with only 3 minutes to go, 4 minutes to go until the imbalances come out, I thought we'd get the low of the day on Intel, last short that we're in. It doesn't seem to want to break. So I've tightened. Stop's going to be in here at like 73, 74. I'll keep the bid at the low. Might as well keep it at the 60s. Early look imbalances were nothing burgers on the New York ones, except for Ford and Pfizer, which over 1 million shares on those doesn't really matter. They tend to pair off, and they're relatively cheap stocks, so nothing out of the ordinary. We'll let you guys know in 3 minutes there. There's nothing really happening in SoFi. If you're still keeping track of CGC, can't seem to punch through that high. Your best bet was, early it was giving you the trend line. Since then, it was a 13 even dollar level. So these are closing on some highs. I think, obviously, we're going to have to pay a little closer attention to them. I did trade ACB, basically up. Whoops. We also have ACB in Toronto. It's dual listed, but that's not what I meant to do. I meant to show you guys the trades that we had on earlier in CGC. Like, I had it. I was actually adding to it and then scalping out. I moved the stop up, which sometimes is not the best thing to do. You should just, like, when I added to it, I moved the stop higher because I had more on, and now it turns into a flat trade. When really, if you gave it the wider stop, I probably still would have gotten out. But I bet you if I'd still been in it and seen that wick, at least I would have been on the stock when it did that wick bottom, and then I could have jumped back in. Sometimes you learn a little bit of something there. With a stock as parabolic as that, sometimes it's better to leave in the wide stop and give it some room to breathe because it's going that parabolic. So ACB, not nearly as good as CGC, but heck, they're all good. Any thoughts on Tilray, ACB, and Sundial? Says Manic. If I short one of these, Sundial is just not like the rest. Ridiculously diluted. Hasn't even broken recent highs. Reverse split, whatever, like the big diluted stock. Reverse split, it hasn't even broken any of the highs previously. This, to me, is when things turn around, jump into a sympathy short on Sundial. Just because it's not nearly as strong as the other ones. It's like multiple reverse splits. Like, this is the Mullen of cannabis names. And that's not a compliment. I'm just keeping it real. Like,
I think ACB is the Mullen.
Well, I feel like Sundial's done more dilution than I think any of the, just from pure dilution. I think they've done the most.
I don't know.
I could be wrong. I just think they have. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, I don't know. You could be right. Okay, so we are getting ready for the recap show. Tonight it'll be me, tomorrow it'll be Neil. If we don't get rained out. If we get rained out, I can do it again tomorrow. We've talked about that, as it'll be a busy one. But Adara and I just want to go over what's hitting today. We have Amazon with an expected move. Thanks, Adara. She's right on top of all of this, man. She's been so great at being able to give us some information on all of this. Amazon, 4 p.m., expected move 8.4%. SMCI tomorrow, expected ETA released at 4:05. Expected move 14%. It's 13.8. I'll just give you the expected exactly, 13.8%. These are all done with implied volatility off options, okay? So that's where we're getting these from. Starbucks, SBUX, Starbucks out. You look like Sharif there with those cheers. I like that. Starbucks right now, expected move, just 6%, out at 4:05 p.m. Pinterest out today as well. Pinterest expected to be out at 4:05. Expected move 12%. Last time moved 9%. AMD, the big dog. AMD right now. We only have 10 seconds until these to the imbalances drop. AMD expected move 8.5. All right, here we go. That's it. And AMD out 4:15. That'll be the ladder. Here we go. Just a couple minutes to go. That was your earnings minute recap. All right, so there it is.
Amazon,
right
3 million to sell.
Amazon 3 million to sell.
Apple, 2.1 million to the sell side. So Apple, Amazon to sell. I mean, everything else.
Attaboy.
Alphabet,
Attaboy.
1.1 million to the sell. This has got to be a few billion shares, no?
Attaboy.
Where's the actual total number? We'll get in a second, but that's got to be a few billion. It's got to be a billion to the sell side. 2.2 billion to the sell side. I mean, obviously, when that's the case, so
Yes,
still on
sir.
sundial. I was only in one short, and
Boom
that just,
goes the dynamite.
I mean, that just hit. I didn't even see Intel on there, but obviously 2.2 billion to sell. It hits the low of the day. I'm now out of it. I'll probably just punch out of SoFi. It's likely not doing anything. Yeah, I mean, what's SoFi doing? Just hanging out around VWAP. This one will be done. We'll just hit the bid and get out of that. So yeah, that's massive to the sell side for those names. Amazon 3 million into earnings. I can't remember the last time we saw an earnings name have a number like that before the report. I really don't remember that happening.
I think Meta might have, but yeah, it's not. I mean, any of those numbers, especially.
Yeah,
the
you know
NASDAQ
what?
ones.
Actually, I seem to, yeah, Meta maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so right into here, man. There's Apple. From the beginning of the day to your sticky note level of 175, all the way to the bottom of where we are right now at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. That is something like that, to hold all the way to the end of the day. Again, pretty happy with that trade as we get ready to rock and roll with that. That is Apple. It is your sticky note play of the day as we talk about that over and over again. So good trade there. Pretty happy with the performance of that. Now let's just see where we go into the close. AMD still $1 in the money, trying to go lower as well. Will AMD sing lower here into the close? We shall soon find out. But yeah. Again, thanks for joining. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe as we try to get, and we will get to our number. We did have a lower bid there that we forgot to cancel on Apple as we go for 450,000.
Still offering
Right there. Let me just punch out of that one real quick and then get my orders canceled. But there goes AMD. Look at this, man. Let's take it out right there, and then we'll get all ready to rock and roll for the Market Recap Show. Join me and Adara as we bring you, hopefully, a great show and a great opportunity to learn more about which earnings are coming out. And then we have Brian Shannon out again. So what a successful and a positive afternoon of trade. Thank you so much for watching. And, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, starting at 8:30.
Every day starting at 8:30, so you can get your prep on early. Lots of great opportunities. Amazon's still falling. Maybe it's a trap. I'm kind of hoping. Again, I don't want the stock to go down, but I am kind of stink bidding this thing and wouldn't mind. I want to buy this. It's not that I'm not like full Alfred, Sharif's buddy, where you're happy every single time a stock falls. But this is one of the names that I want on a dip buy that I did not get the last time it was at the 200 period moving average, and I regretted not adding to this position. So I consider myself underweight a little bit, and I want this retail name specifically. So 353, we've still got some time here. I was about to say I have no orders and no stop orders out, but I did just have, I got hit on the bid of Intel, but my trailing stop was still out there, so I've just gone and canceled that. Now 2.5% down. This thing is Flush City. I still think you could see $25. SMCI, by the way, just tanked like $10, and we haven't even looked at one of the other ones it's reporting, which is Starbucks, Pinterest. There's so much to get to in the aftermarket tonight. It's going to be wild. And then don't forget, Bitcoin lost 60,000 today. So crypto's in play tomorrow. You got weed, crypto, earnings, literally everything out there.
So
I
before,
like the 52-bit on Bitcoin, by the way. If it does, it's not going to go there tomorrow.
52, that'd be huge. All right, before I go, give me one name that you think beats.
Beats on earnings?
Yeah,
I got
higher tomorrow.
Higher tomorrow, and I'll go AMD.
AMD.
I think Amazon's gonna. I think Amazon has a good quarter. I'm just.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think AMD is.
I
could be huge too.
sheepishly want it to go down so I can buy. So AMD because I feel as if Intel was so bad, and AMD, generally speaking, is not as conservative with their guidance, and they've already been beaten up. So they don't have to knock it out of the park for the stock to go up.
All right. Okay, so we are just waiting here. It's 3:55. I got to go over there because we will be able to get that show going because there's a lot of earnings coming immediately. But there it is. I just wanted to show you. Amazon got bigger. You didn't say it was 5 million. Well, now it is.
3 million.
Well, now it is.
I know
man.
Apple's bigger too.
Yeah. So I got out. That's what I was trying to show.
Wait a
but now
minute,
it's
it's
flipping.
month end.
Right there. There it is. So now, yeah, it's month end. So that's why we are getting bigger. Look at this. Look at this. We covered Apple. Wow. I might, you know what? No, not good. I mean, thank you, BPI, for that one. But
What the
Apple, we
heck?
were short at 175. It's at 170. This is liquid event. Liquid rewind it because right now we are starting to go. I'm going to go long right here. Forget about the market recap show. I'm here to make a little bit of money. Let's see what happens if we get a move down in. If we break through 170, then we'll be out of here. But I'm going to go long, see if we can't pad the old count up here a little
It
bit.
just paired off 1.5 million of that.
Okay, good. So we are long right now, trying to get a little bit back. I'm just sitting here like at the 80 mark. If we could get it, boom, there it goes, man. Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. I'll be coming over at Dare. You may have to cover for just a minute here into the close. But we're already locked and loaded, man. Trading is what we do. Hosting is what we do also. So we're going to get over there in just a second. But right now, we'll see what Apple does on that major move to the downside. Hey, look, man, we were short all day. This is sticky note time right there. But let's see what happens here into the close as we watch out for these imbalances. To say I'm addicted to trading would be accurate right here. So let's go. Let's see if Apple can get back up to the upside right now. Man, we excited over here.
Yeah, 100%. So look, that's Amazon stayed, by the way. I should have said that. Amazon will 4.4. It's still a gigantic sell. Remember, they report, but Apple did pair off. That's the paired volume, 15 million shares. So the open interest on the close is gigantic on Apple. I did the same thing where I got out of Intel, and it continued to flush in. But that's basically all of them. Amazon's the one I'm going to watch at the close. It still feels like it's probably down way too far, but that could just be a risk-off event. I cannot remember the last time I saw something going into earnings actually make a drop like this,
man.
but that's pretty nasty. So I'm all flat. We're going to be watching Amazon, Apple, Lemonade's another one. That's a big one. Like, they're a big short float. I think it's worth watching only for a trade. I think it's a nasty vehicle to own. That said, my wife's in insurance, and I will never forget the discussion. I was going to buy some Lemonade stock, and then I had about a 15-minute conversation with somebody in the business and saved myself a lot of money understanding the challenges that these guys have. That said, for a stock like this, barcoding with a huge short float, this one's on my radar. And 4 times a year, this is interesting. And that's pretty much all you care about. When the move is there, this stock will fly on earnings. It's got multiple days where it does 25% or more. I didn't check the open interest, but frankly, I don't care. It's more about the short interest for me. Some people will be looking at Wingstop and some of those other names, and the NASDAQ is going to give you 2 points today, or 1.77 to the downside. That's another reason that you got to stay a little bit bearish. Like, that's nasty. That's still on Lemonade there, but I want to get you guys to Amazon here. Still nasty. Still downside on that sell imbalance. Like, it's absolutely cratering in here. Apple's still holding the lows. It bounced off 170, but it's still holding some of those lows. Amazon's now paired off half. Intel actually flipped to a bid. So be careful. We always say 355. After then, be careful for those pairing events. That is exactly what you saw happen here. But it's only Amazon that's still a sell side imbalance. That's the one to watch going into the close, not just because of the earnings, but because somebody was dump city. It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad earnings. There's no such thing. It's just how the market trades them. So I'm not going to be, no matter what happens, I'm not going to care if this stock is weak tomorrow and fading. I'm not going to care what I thought about the report because I think it's a good company, and you got to be able to respect price action. Price action is absolutely king. I love NVIDIA. But today, to me, that was a short trade. Obviously, it could have gone a heck of a lot better. I like ARM, but that was a short trade again. We'll see DJK, whether it's a crash tonight. Bitcoin's still tanking, but that's at 59,000 and holding full. We got less than 1 minute to go. As said, all of a sudden, like I was actually more interested to look at AMD, but that move on Amazon has that one front and center, and they're all coming out rapid fire. We're going to get to the desk, and we're not going to waste a lot of time with it at 4 o'clock. But you know what time it is. It's been a fun one. Any day that you're able to trade and do what you love is a good one. It's even better if you happen to be green, and when you get to see moves like this, which is always fun to take part of. Just wish you could have known it was going to be that big sell imbalance, and then hold some of them. Get the camera off me. Get it on Adara. It is only Tuesday, and it feels like it's been a whole week already. In 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it. Ayo, that was a big one. Adara's excited with the big ring of the bell there. Shout out to Fabian and Ramin on the 1s and 2s as always. Fabian putting in work, some big things coming for the podcast. I don't know how much I'm supposed to say about that, but there are some big things coming. Make sure you check that one out. But hey, it's a big move. It's a big day. Shout out to Sharif. Shout out to Brendan. Shout out to everybody, and we appreciate all of you. But let's get right on over to it because we got the recap show. Amazon, AMD, SMCI. Let's go to Sean and Adara at the desk. Wow, Amazon's still falling.
We are ready to go right now. Thank you so much for joining us here. My trade ideas is not loaded up here, but we do have Amazon right now, 173. Let's hear it comes up. The trade ideas is loading up right now, so we've got it right now. So let's go have a quick look. Amazon down to 175 and moving a little bit lower. AMZN right now. So that's a nice little move to the downside right here. We will have those numbers. We are brought to you, of course, by Benzinga Pro. So as soon as we get that, Amazon is now out. We will have that move. There it is. Nice move to the upside. There goes Amazon. Bang. We like Amazon. We talked about this one. We said it. Someone asked me, where would this go? It's upside and downside right now for Amazon. Get ready for locked and loaded. Right now, Amazon up 20% for the year. Boom. There it goes down to 165. Amazon is getting kicked in the face to the downside. Adara, you let me know when you
I
have
some
it.
numbers here. So we did get net sales beat 143.3 billion versus 142.49 billion expected. EPS beat here as well, 0.98 versus 0.83 expected. Operating income for Q2 expected to be between 10 billion and 14 billion. Not seeing much of a reason here for the drop. Year over year increase of 17% for quarterly AWS segment sales here. Net sales USD outlook here, 144 million to 149 million. Not seeing a huge reason for this drop, but I'm still seeing everything come in, guys. Generally seems like a strong report.
Okay, good. Yeah, Amazon's up, so we'll wait. Here it goes, starting to go back up to the upside right there. And what a move, down to 165. If you're looking at the daily chart, that 165 is right here. So it went right back into past support. Boom, downside, now upside. There goes Amazon. We are still waiting for more. What's supposed to come out next? I mean, they're all supposed to come out. We have SMCI is what we wait for next. Super Micro to come out. Right now, not out yet. Super Micro dancing around here as well. We get Starbucks coming out soon as well. We're expecting a nice move for that one. But for right now, it is the big dog. It is Amazon. And there it goes. Look at Amazon. We talked about this name. This is the name that I thought was going to beat. People asked me in the chat. We said Amazon upside. We said that they were changing the game. Amazon is doing that. This is what Amazon's talking about. Look at it up here, up 2.9%. It's not huge. What was the expected move again? 8 and change?
Yeah, the expected move was 8.4.
Okay, so right here, Amazon, 98 cents versus 82. Bang, that's a beat. Right there, sales, also a beat for Amazon. They see Q2 net sales between 144 to 149 versus 150. So they see a downside guide for Amazon. But for right now, the market likes it, but not that much, up 1.2%. Good day so far for AMZN and their shareholders. We have Chesapeake results are out. Chesapeake goes higher, man. CHK right now, first quarter earnings, adjusted EPS right now for Chesapeake out. 56 cents, misses 60. So lower on that. Chesapeake right now, upside on a miss. Interesting to see that one. As we'll wait, Diamondback Energy, another name that's out with FANG. The action is heating up right now. FANG, Diamondback Energy, downside. We still wait. AMD, 415. Not out yet. Look at the action in AMD in the aftermarket. Nice move down to 158. By the way, we were buying that Apple at the end of the day, down there at 170. That's basically where it landed. Huge market sell at the end of the day for Apple. And guess who was short all day? This is your trade of the month probably here. Well, we've had $30, $40, $50 winners this month.
Yeah.
But for me, Apple, the fact that we talked about this early up here at 175, got out there at the low of the day, then this happened, and we took a long in and out there for flat. Took 30 cents, lost 30 cents at the end of the day for Apple with that move to the downside right now. But we wait for this bad boy. It's AMD. We were short all day on AMD. I mean, AMD, or not all day, all afternoon, I should say, Adara. Nice move down to the downside for AMD. Real traders stay late and real traders trade potentially like this. Pick your direction and hold it. No more wishy-washy. You take your trade and you see the damage that you could do on that. Uranium down 5% today. TAN ETF down today. Let's flip it over.
We got Supermicro.
Supermicro is out. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we got these numbers in here coming. Full year outlook here, 14.3 to 14.7 billion here. We also got Starbucks here, so we can switch to that. But yeah, SMCI Q3 adjusted gross margin 15.6%.
That's okay.
Adjusted EPS here beat. Let's look to Starbucks here.
Yeah, as they're coming in fast, let's just do earnings per share, and that's it.
Sounds good.
Let's do earnings per share and any sort of a guide just for now until we get going, because for right now, here we go to the downside right now. Starbucks right now, downside or any sort of revenues. Revenues, EPS, that's what we're looking for right now. Starbucks, nice downside move right here as we're starting to go. Do you have the Starbucks numbers down?
0.68 versus 0.79 expected for adjusted EPS for Q2 because it's their financial Q2. I'm not seeing the revenue, but that was the biggest thing. They also noted a decline in North American sales.
All right, one of Neil's stocks here, Pinterest right now. I don't know if he's in it. He just talks about it sometimes. There goes Pinterest. A nice little move up there for Pinterest again. 26 versus 13 cents right now for Pinterest. A nice move back upside for Pins, up 11%. Man, we're coming in fast and furious right now into the show, man. Oh, I didn't even update. All those things are wrong. So all of those are wrong. Take it over. I'm going to go update this.
Yeah, I can take it over. So we can start. We'll look at this Pinterest coming in here. They did get their outlook for Q2 revenue coming in 835 million to 850 million. They did provide here an adjusted EPS beat for Q1. 20 cents versus 13 cents expected. Q1 revenue higher than expected, 739.9 million versus 699.9 million. Let's look at Starbucks again here as well. See what these numbers are coming out as, because I know Starbucks did have a bit of that move. We did have the decline in North American and U.S. comparable store sales, 3% drop for the quarter. Also seeing global comparable store sales decline by 4%. So sales down for the quarter here for SBUX, but they did have that miss as well for EPS. Not seeing, we did have a miss as well for Q2 revenue, 8.6 bill versus 9.12 bill expected. So miss across the board for Starbucks.
Yeah, good. Thanks for that, Darren. We got to update it now because I'm not going to forget about Brian Shannon coming through. When I see that Trader Talk, we got to have Brian Shannon from Alpha Trends coming through as well. So there it is right now. SMCI was smoking, but now it's coming back in a little bit. Did they find that smoking gun or not? Up to 950 goes SMCI, up 2 and a bit right now. If we can go over to the chart, we'll just show that real quickly. SMCI up to 950, bouncing around right here. This is a crazy stock, obviously. The 50-period moving average is there at 950. Let me just show you what SMCI looks like here as a live stock. It's right now an $8 spread. Where else is going to show you live level 2s like we're doing right now? This is a $10, $15 spread right now on SMCI, making it now $20, $30 spread on SMCI, making this name very difficult to chart and trade. I remember seeing Sharif back there, and I was like, dude, stop trading earnings plays as they happen. Those are too tough to do it coming through. Look, I asked Michael Noss to go red-green, so right now we have red-red, so we're going to change that up, but I don't know what sector sectors were green today. Let's just check out quickly XLE. What did that have on it today? No, down nicely today for the spider sector ETF. I'm not sure there was much green today. We were hella bearish all day long. Do you have a green sector?
Yeah, the only green sector I was seeing earlier today, marginally green, was health. That was because of Eli Lilly.
Oh man, yeah. What did Eli Lilly end up today? Up 5 and a bit percent. Good call on that one. As we can go over to XLV, some of the healthcare there today. Yeah, slightly down right there. So we're waiting for AMD. AMD earnings for everybody looking for that is still 415, but it's Amazon is what we're looking at right here. Amazon was a big break. Okay, if you're going over to the daily chart for Amazon, we are looking for that 190 break. That's the break that we're looking at. For right now, you're just hovering in here, a relatively nothing burger today for Amazon, okay, guys? And what I mean by that is it's flat on this move, Adara. So we're not getting much action here. We did have a sell-off at the end of the day. I'm not trying to let that influence us. There was a market on close and balance of over 5 million shares to sell for Amazon off the imbalance. So as you can see, this is 350. It dropped down there 5 straight dollars. A similar action. I hope the guys on the floor is able to make a little bit of money on this. Same action there on Apple. If you have an algorithm, this is the kind of stuff that you're looking to hit. You see a big sell order come through, you hit the short. Apple with a big sell there at the end of the day. Where did our friend Tesla wind up? So again, okay for Tesla, not bad, ending near the lows of the day. This was a banger trade for us all day long on TSLA. I know Brian and I have talked about Tesla a little bit, but check these shorts, man. 191, and then again here at 185 and 186 into the close of the day. Tesla, that banger that you all thought was going to be today. Tesla, what was your favorite name to trade today?
Today, I had a lot of fun with that Snapchat short. We broke below that $15 level, and once we kind of failed that again, I took that short. That was, that was one of my best trades of the day. I also had a little bit of SOXL action as well. So I like that Tesla 185.50 short, but I was very preoccupied with my SOXL and my Snapchat, so it all worked out okay.
What's up to John? He says, good traders stay late. So Sean and Adara, shout out to you guys. Yeah. I mean, they asked. Yeah. You know, I was like, get me Adara.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm really, really happy to share this.
So let's go. SMCI, good. Thanks, Adara. Look at SMCI. Kick. See if there's anything on the guidance. SMCI starting to go to the downside right now.
The guidance was good.
Was it? Because, okay, there has to be something going on here. $100 off the top. We were just looking at SMCI, guys. Remember, I was like, oh, it's 915 was the ask. And now it's tightened up. Look at the spread, guys. There's a seller coming down. Look at that, $8, $7.99. Starting to get hit on this name. SMCI printing lower. Nice tank job there for SMCI so far, down 10 points. We saw some bad trading, not bad trading, depends if you're long or short, but MSTR MicroStrategy on the move down on Bitcoin. Similar fate today, down 17% for MSTR. SMCI down. Starbucks. I mean, I don't know if Ramin and I's drinks are going to get any cheaper here, but right now, Starbucks down 9%. I mean, if we just had a put on this thing, then yeah, we could be buying a lot of Frappuccinos tomorrow. Its expected move, just 6%. So Starbucks nicely down into the downside as baristas scramble to figure out what's going on. Starbucks right now trading lower following weaker than expected Q2 earnings for SBUX. There it is right there. It's Starbucks downside. There it is right here. Misses 68 versus 79, 8.6 versus 9. Adara, they got killed. That's a bottom and a top line miss for Starbucks.
And it's also a drop in comparable store sales. 3% in the US and North America, 4% globally. I found very little upside, very little silver lining reading through that report. Okay. Yeah, Starbucks, you would think there'd be that move up because as you said, like, you know, a lot of people are buying these drinks. I know I contributed to some of those earnings. I'm going to be really honest with you.
Now we got Wingstop tomorrow. You ready for some wings?
I'm ready for some wings.
All right, we're going to get some wings.
Yeah, whatever Wingstop does at earnings, we know the number
credit card
will
cleared
infinitely be better after we go tomorrow. But yeah, another consumer name to watch out for tomorrow, Wingstop. Starbucks, though, that's a shockingly bad report.
Brendan, we're getting Wingstop tomorrow. Brendan's excited about that. I can see clearly. So thank you for that. We are getting Wingstop. Wingstop earnings tomorrow. Should be exciting. That chart is absolutely insane.
Chart's wild.
Looks similar to what is going on with Pinterest. Pinterest right now, bang on that one. Huge move up 20% goes pins. Straight northbound right now. Let's flip it over into a daily and have a look. Uh-oh, we're all the way back. I would fade this kind of a move, but Pinterest seems like it's working up to $40, $41. Good name, good number, $41 for Pinterest coming into play one more time. I believe that was a beat all around. Here it is on Benzinga Pro. Yeah. I'll just get this to you quickly. Trading higher after strong Q1 earnings and a Q2 update. Revenues, 835 to 850 versus 826. So they're saying low end. No way. We're not even close to that right now. 826 was the estimate. They went low side of there at 835. You ever bought anything on Pinterest?
No, my dad uses Pinterest a lot. Like, he'll send me like little pins he sees and stuff.
Yep.
Like, it's fun. You know, I think it's a lot of cool brainstorming stuff on there. I am not a user of pins, but I know there are a lot of people. I know a lot of teachers as well use pins. So
yeah, we did Pinterest. I think it was for our wedding. I think we got a couple things off Pinterest. They're really cute things you can get off there.
That's awesome.
Things for your, you have a dog or cat or anything like that?
Yeah, in Winnipeg we have pets, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cute. You can get things made there specifically for that. I got something for my wife made from Pinterest. I can't remember what it is, but there it is. Nice V shape on SMCI. Let's go back over and check that number out just real quick. Again, SMCI kind of in the middle was a pretty important. AMD is now out.
AMD,
You're not going to get anything more than this as fast as we are. Oh no! AMD, nice downside move right now, down to 152. It's Advanced Micro Devices. Nice downside move right now. We will get these numbers for you in just a minute.
I do have the numbers, actually.
Okay, let's go then.
So I'm seeing Q1 revenue, slight beat
Coming
here,
back.
5.473 million versus 4.59 million expected. So slight beat for revenue, but slight EPS miss. I think they're expecting 0.8. We got 0.08. We got 0.07. So slight miss for EPS.
Yeah, look at AMD going to the downside right now. We will hear, to me, nothing to do with current quarter. Who cares? I want to hear the guidance. So as soon as we have that, not that who cares about the numbers. We need the numbers 100%. But to me, I know AI is a story. We know that, Adara.
Yeah.
Let's hear about the guide for that. And it's just a quick check because you probably have it. Also, NVIDIA right now had that high move on SMCI earnings up to 882. Now NVIDIA going back into the downside, 859 for NVIDIA. As AMD, I know we have Brian Shannon coming on soon right now. We've talked about some of the air coming out of some of these AI names. We know Meta's spending a lot. That should be good for AMD and for NVIDIA. Let's see about the guide. Do they have anything on the guide?
The guide was a miss. So we know we just said Pinterest, even the low end beat the guide. Even the high end of AMD was not near what the estimate was. 5.4 to 5.6 billion is their guide. The estimate from analysts was 5.72 billion.
Okay, so
very big miss there for AMD.
Yeah, there it is right there. We have it right here on Benzinga. Thank you for that, Adara. And look, you're getting the news broken to you ASAP. As soon as AMD hit, there's no one else that showed you a chart faster than that. That is for sure. Here's AMD right now. Q2 revenue, 5.4 to 6. 5.7 estimate. So they could still get there on the high side. It's the low side that people do not like, as opposed to what Pinterest did was guide higher, and their low end is still higher than the estimate. So that's just a little bit of education there. We're looking for guides. Remember, what we've reported is in the past. We know what the AI and what the chip trade has been. It's been fantastic. But AMD, I mean, I don't know what people smarter than me, 227 high, down now to 150. That's $70 off of 210, man. You're down a third on AMD. Quick math, not good for AMD as we get back down into here. And you know what? This is right on the nose. I'm dropping an anchored VWAP all the way back here to beginning of the year, right here where we had that move come back in the start of the year. We are now well under the anchored VWAP up here at 172. For me, I am fading this AMD trade. We've been fading it all day, baby. I mean, I guess Neil gives the kiss of death to it. He liked it go upside right there. AMD downside right now, down 5%. And look at these shorts. They ain't gonna look pretty now, but their shorts 161 and 160 down. Well, I mean, we got to cover at the end of the day, Adara. You know, like
Yeah.
when I'm covering this at 350 for a $2 banger, we're pretty happy. Oh my God, it's 418. What am I even doing? This is not acceptable when I have someone like Brian Shannon on the line. My bad, Brian. Without any further ado, it's Mr. Shannon from Alpha Trends. Let's bring him on. Ooh, hi, Brian. That was a exciting 20 minutes of action-packed earnings. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, we had a little bit of selling today, and we're a little bit of profit taking now, and it came in a perfect place too. I mean, the selling occurred where it was supposed to.
Okay.
After that recent bounce in the indexes, so a little profit taking. Let's accept it. Let things settle down and see what happens and sets up from here.
Was there an index or anything specifically that potentially you were looking short or potentially short into this kind of a move? Because Adair and I went through, we only see one. I thought it was healthcare was the only green sector today. It is definitely sort of a huge move down, maybe the NASDAQ and the spiders, but was there anything potentially that you saw for such a dramatic rollover today?
Well, I was looking for some weakness, and
Okay.
I actually got some puts in the market, and a couple other little things. But I was definitely not expecting this type of downdraft. I was thinking we were going to hold closer to
Don't worry
the
about it.
5-day moving average in the SPY, which is at about 506, and here we are down at 501. So that weakness came as a surprise, but a
Installing
welcome
updates.
surprise because I had
his
pretty
screen.
decent exposure for it. And happened to have one of these weed plays yesterday, that I bought this morning, sundials. So yeah, it was a pretty decent day for me.
Yeah, sundial, that kind of came out of nowhere there with the DEA. Was that expected at all? Is that why it was on your radar? Because it kind of caught me by surprise there midday with such a huge move up in the marijuana names.
I think that it's been expected for like the last 6 months, right? I mean, people have just been talking about it, and actually, someone in my Discord yesterday said, I said, the wheat stocks are looking pretty good. He said, well, people are trying to game the FDA. I said, well, yeah, but they've been doing that forever. So I don't know if other people were expecting it. I was simply looking at the chart. On a break past that 206 level, it started rocking. So
All right.
I'll take it.
Yeah, no, great move up there. I was wondering about CGC myself because if we come over to my screen right here, we have some great support. I mean, we have the 200, we have the 50-period simple, all down here at 5 and change. Huge move up for this one, up 73%. Again, another short float issue there, but the days to cover is super small, only half a day. So the volume is here for these names. Would you ever consider shorting this, or because of the news and because of the excitement and what can happen on Reddit and social media, maybe these, quite simply, Brian, are just too dangerous to short? Is there a level that you may want to get involved in a name even like CGC here?
No, I don't.
Right.
You know, the thing is, Sean, that for the last 3-4 years, these stocks have been below the declining 200-day moving
go to his
average.
screen.
In every single rally,
Perfect.
I have been avoiding. That's that green moving
Right.
average on your screen. And we've been trapped underneath that, and every rally has been rejected as it's supposed to with a declining 200-day moving average. Now we have a 10-week moving average above a 20-week moving average, which is above a 30-week and above the 40-week or 200-day moving average. So to me, it looks like now the script is flipped. Instead of shorting after the rallies, we now want to buy pullbacks, and as you know, not by the dip, but by strength after dips. So you want to keep an eye on these for sustained moves now, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I've learned. Again, you always tell me not that we don't actually, but this book, I mean, the fact that we're looking at VWAPs and areas of interest, that's the one thing that is so important. We don't know what's going to happen, but what we have to do is set up a risk plan, and we have to be able to get in and get out at some desired levels. I was very bearish today on Tesla. And the reason why, Brian, is because I feel like we are well overdone here on this name. Just a monster move up here on the daily. This does not look like anything else with all of these gaps. And And I just feel like for such a big stock, when we're talking about, again, the market cap keeps changing on this thing, so let me find it right now, only 600 billion. But again, such a huge name with these kind of gaps, to me, think it's been a little bit overdone, and today we faded it. We had some great trades, a 191 short and whatnot for Tesla today, but looked short all day, and then finishing near its or at its lows. To me, this name still looks bearish heading into tomorrow. Any thoughts on this recent move from Tesla?
I agree with you, Sean. I mean, a pullback maybe to the anchor from the low last week, that would bring it down towards about 170 right now is where that would line up. So I think some pullback and then reassess if it can hold on some gains and start to build a base in this area. But overall, it's just a crummy looking chart and real volatile. I think that your time frame is the best one for a stock like Tesla. It's a day trade stock, really.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. For the last couple of days, like yesterday, we were bullish on Tesla. Today, bearish. So easy to flip it up based on those headlines. It's been absolutely amazing. You and I have talked about NVIDIA. And a couple weeks ago, I think we had like-minded ideas with NVIDIA heading to that $1,000 mark. It looks like it's double topped. If we come over to my screen here, Ramin, quickly, it looks like we've double topped up and around 965. Again, I've been dropping, and again, I shout out to Trade Ideas and shout out to you again, back here, year starting anchors. And honestly, Brian, when I called this up on the show the other day, and I saw that NVIDIA bounced off of a year-to-date anchor, literally at the bottom of 760. I was like, hot damn, this is a good indicator. The anchor's held at 760. Is there anything that this is possibly telling you about NVIDIA with earnings coming later in the month, May 22nd, still a ways away, but a great look there off 760, that anchor holding for sure.
Yeah, drop an anchor right on that all-time high there, Sean, too, and you'll see that we've kind of been trapped underneath that for really most of the month on the daily time frame that you have up there. Or I guess we're looking at my screen right now. So the anchor off of this all-time high right here, you can see we've been trapped underneath that outside of one day pretty much the entire month. So I think it's good that we're building potentially a higher low right in here, and you could call this a low. You could call it a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. And if it builds enough energy and if it doesn't break down from here, I think your next move is going to be to the upside, because that's the path of least resistance on the longer term time frame, and that could put 1,000 into play pretty quickly, I think.
I was just teaching Adara on the side here, who just went live last week. So I was actually showing her. Hey, Dara, how's it going? Good. But I was just showing you that we're kind of in a channel from that anchored VWAP from up here. For some reason, it dropped down there. I dropped it on the wrong day. But in that channel, so a nice top of 913. We'll wait to see earnings if we beat that. Let me just flip over to AMD quickly, because we did get that earnings out. And it looks like the EPS revenue were okay, but we do get a little bit of a miss on the guide as AMD falls back into this 150 area. For me, I've been buying names that I like at 200 period moving averages, including such names as PanW that's been holding the 200 and looking pretty good. AMD, I feel like we may be having a date back down here into the 200 period for advanced micro devices. I know you like to trade some littler names sometimes, sort of some undercover names. Would you ever consider putting a trade on close to earnings now that we're through earnings? I like to give it 2 or 3 days. Do you have any rules about that around earnings plays?
Well, one, I agree with you on AMD. I think it's heading down towards that 200-day moving average. That just kind of looks like it's got a big magnet pulling it down towards that level. And if we go back to PanW for a moment, if you look on my screen, you see this vertical line right here. This vertical line is where we closed 50 days ago. Now, some institutions, not all of them, some institutions can only buy a stock if the 50-day moving average is flat or advancing. Well, tomorrow we get rid of this data right here, and instead this becomes day 50 right here, meaning tomorrow that 50-day moving average is going to start to rise a little bit. I almost sounded like you, Sean. I think I said tomorrow. Anyways, we're going to see that 50-day.
Why does that sound like me? Hold on a second. Let's address that. Do I say that differently or what?
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
No, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow?
That's the Canadian. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay. You know, it reminds me of that Bitcoin name, Mara, the mining name.
Mara. Yeah.
Okay.
Mara.
I didn't mean to
M-A-R-A.
interrupt. I didn't know that was a Canadian thing. You know why it's always interesting to me, Brian? Because I don't think we talk with an accent, but obviously we do. No doubt about it. I guess people say
Well,
that.
there you go. See,
There we go. Now we're getting a little better. Oh, how? Yeah. So back to PanW. That's so interesting. And I was just showing that to Adara. The 50-day starting to go upside. I didn't realize that that was part of, I guess, one of your trading tools there. Look for the 50 to go upside in order to buy a name because the big boys might have your back. Very interesting point.
Yeah, I like the slope of it. So in actually right now, if you look, that anchor from the gap lower is exactly tied with the anchored volume weighted average price from that drop down too. So this looks like a good area. It was prior resistance right here. Is trying to hold a support at about 283 or so. And if it can kind of build in here, then maybe we're going to get a little Paul Pelosi push.
Oh man, that Pelosi. It's funny, everybody in the chat is definitely agreeing with you. So shout out to all our fellow Americans in there with the accent coming through. All right, there's been a couple names that you've highlighted for us in the past. Is there any sort of updates you want to give? I think CRISPR Therapeutics was a while ago, but there's been some other names, potentially anything that you're in right now looking to break out of, or any trades that potentially you want to talk about before we let you go here into 4:30.
Speaking of the weed plays, SMG, they report earnings.
Oh, I like that name.
This is Scott's Miracle Grow,
Right.
and they're kind of like the picks and shovels for the growers.
Like that.
And this has been just in a horrific downtrend, like most of the weed plays. It's not a direct weed play, but we have the same thing here. We now have a rising 10-week, 20, 30, and 40-week moving average. We broke beyond this resistance on the weekly time frame. We've pulled back to it. On the daily time frame, we are right here at the 50-day moving average and the anchor off of this peak. So I think, I'd like to see it kind of settle down a little bit for a day or two, but we have earnings in the morning. This stock could start to get going higher, I think, SMG. So that's a little bit more conservative with a stop under here. But with the Federal Reserve tomorrow, I'm just playing it a little bit more conservatively and not really trying to put too many new swing trades on.
You know what's hilarious? I didn't even talk to you about the Fed. Like, we didn't even mention the Fed at all. I feel like they're becoming more and more irrelevant as we go on because, honestly, we know they're just pushing the can or kicking the can down the road there. And I'm not trading basically at all based on anything that I hear from the Fed. I actually go the other way in intraday. Like, if they're going to open their mouth and say something and the market reacts to it, I actually wait for the move to slow down and then fade all of those moves. I'm sure you're not really trading off too much Fed speak.
Like tomorrow, as soon as the Federal Reserve talks, I will be on a 1-minute S&P chart, and I will drop an anchor there and see how it behaves around that. I will spend zero time trying to analyze what they say.
Right.
Everyone else can, spend their time doing that. I'm going to be focused on price action to see how the market behaves based on that, and start to see if I can plan trades around the anchor from the event.
I'm going to give you one more name so I can look smart, hopefully, and you tell me what you think of this. This is a play that I liked back in 2016, I believe, or no, what year are we on? 2020, when they had talked about marijuana again, and it was talked about by Kamala Harris, and it was Grow Generation, and that is GRWG. If you come over to my screen right here just quickly, this name has been beat up. So this is, again, about the picks and shovels. My screen, if you can, Ramin, just quickly here, just on the weekly chart. This has been really beat up. This is, again, making the equipment to be able, hydroponics, things like that, to grow marijuana yourself. They did get a huge move up. If you flip over into the daily chart, big spike ups. I feel like we may have based out in and around $2. I know you're paying for it now, but does this look okay? I mean, Grow Generation brands, possibly. I know it's hard to get in on a day 2 play, but maybe if it settles down, what does GRWG look like to you?
I think this is one of the less likely ones to follow through right now, simply because that 200-day moving average is declining.
Right. Okay.
And where we were 200 days ago was mid-July of last year. So we're still averaging out data from about 3.5, 375. I think this one, it probably gets a couple of days of follow through, but it should settle back down. I'd be more patient with this one. Let it settle down towards that 200-day moving average, find buyers in there, and then maybe, throughout the summer, it can start to finally get going again.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about that one. Let's talk about that in a couple of weeks, and we'll see where it's going from there. But thank you so much for joining us. Anything you got going on? You mentioned your Discord. They can go find you at Alpha Trends. Anything else you want? Oh, Maximum Trading Gains with Anchored VWAP. Go pick that up. Go follow Mr. Brian Shannon. Anything else, my friend?
No, Sean, that's it.
And tomorrow, we love you tomorrow because, Brian, it is only a day away. Mr. Brian Shannon, that's Trader Talk. Have a good one and good luck with the Fed tomorrow, my friend.
You too, Sean. Thanks, everybody.
Ciao. Man.
That was, yeah. Thank you so much to Brian Shannon for that. Well, I learned a lot through the Anchored VWAP discussion.
Yeah, good. Yeah, we'll talk more about that, of course. And remember when you sat here for the first time a couple months ago, I said to you, just look at VWAP and nothing else.
It helps. It really does.
Now you've added to that. I like it. You got to add more to that. All right, just real quick. Let's go over and blast real quick. All right, before we go, we are going to do roll call. Get ready in the chat. We will have roll call in 1 minute. Right now it's Amazon. Let's just go through some of these earnings quickly. We have Amazon right now on a 1 minute chart. I blew it all up and down. The roller coaster that Amazon is all aboard because you can get on right now. It is flat for Amazon doing absolutely nothing. AMD, yuck, down 5%. I think it's going to that 140 level. So does Brian. Let's see what happens with AMD. Don't like that guide. Possible problems there in Chipland. SMCI says, hey, there was a problem, then there wasn't. Now potentially there is again. Down here to 846 goes SMCI, down 5%. Pinterest right now. People using online, you know, they're spending. We got good reports from Visa and AXP. Now Pinterest proving that. What else did we miss there? Starbucks. I said people are spending, but not on handcrafted beverages as well. Don't tell that to my family, but nice downside move. Same with Adara. Nice downside move with Starbucks breaking out. This does not look healthy. I actually am not invested in this name, but I was going to buy, but now we're all the way down here. Let me just quickly look at a quick weekly chart as we got to get out of here. I'm not going to make anybody stay too late. There it is on the weekly chart coming into $73. We will look out there for Starbucks. It is time for the infamous, made famous apparently on your show as well.
Yeah, Sharif's been doing his own roll call. Yeah.
Sharif's he's not been doing his own. Oh. He's been doing a version of mine.
My apologies. He's been doing his cover version of the Sean
cover.
Roll call. Yeah.
I'm just playing around.
No.
What's up to Joe right here? What's up to Juan Padilla? Kevin O is here. Oh, he's here. It's Kevin O. Andre Skinner. Apollo is here. What's up, Apollo? What's up to Jason? What's up to Bears vs. Bulls, the best in the business, baby? We talk about it all the time. Andrew Chow is in the building. Juan Padilla is here. Mike Breeze is saying, okay. Blue Jays, finish it. Let's
go.
Play ball.
Oh, okay.
All right. I know all those words, but I will not continue because I will not get any help. Darwin, that's your work tonight. Blue Jays 7th inning stretch song. Shout out to the Piper is here. Picky Eater, everybody's in the building. Green days are good days. Shout out to Green Days, and do not drop a dookie on your trading.
Do not do that.
That's a Green Day album. Do you know that?
I do not know that Green Day album.
All right, for Adara, I am Sean. It has been a blast. Thank you so much to Brian Shannon, and thank you to the market for providing us such amazing opportunities. We had a bang-up month, and I think a lot of you saw that, so I'm pretty proud of that, and we'll see if we can rinse and repeat that tomorrow. Thank you, Adara. What a great show again, and we will look to do it tomorrow, but you will be doing it with Neil.
I will be doing it with Neil.
So good luck with that. Thank you so much to everybody, and I'll see you on the flip side tomorrow at 8:30. I'm going to go hope that, although I see the sun outside, our field is not washed out. Ciao, everybody.